Good morning, 5 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we've got a sunny day ahead, a high around 78 degrees. Right now, 57 in the news. There was no traffic flowing freely through the Strait of Hormuz overnight. Iran claiming that Israeli attacks on the terror group Hezbollah's strongholds in Lebanon is a violation of its deal with the U.S.
I think this comes from a legitimate misunderstanding.
Vice President J.D. Vance, who's expected to lead peace talks in Pakistan this weekend, insists the ceasefire is holding.
I think the Iranians thought that the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't.
In a potential sign of progress, Iranian media claims officials have released a map showing a path ships can take through the Strait of Hormuz to avoid mines. The Iranians now pushing a plan to charge ships a toll.
That's ABC's Sophie Flay reporting. An explosion in East Nashville yesterday. It was caused by a chemical reaction. Here's Channel 4's Jordan James.
The Nashville Fire Department tells us that a person was using acetone to strip the floor while smoking a cigarette. Somehow an explosion occurred, causing the wall to fall. Multiple agencies responded. Once inside, NFD says they discovered smoke coming from a sander. This incident prompting them to test the air quality, which they say showed to be positive for acetone. Ultimately, first responders determined no threat to the public, so most fire personnel have left.
The victim was treated for burn injuries at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. You know those popular Stanley water bottles? Turns out they contain lead, but a federal judge has thrown out a class action lawsuit over them.
The manufacturer has acknowledged a small quantity of lead is used, but is not accessible to consumers. In dismissing the proposed action, the judge said, quote, a specific and plausible risk of harm was not demonstrated.
That's Marcia McMillan from Canada's CTV News Channel. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
It was a worldwide rally for markets after President Trump announced a ceasefire deal with Iran that included reopening the Strait of Hormuz. The Dow added 1,325 points, or 2.8%. The Nasdaq surged 617 points, or 2.8%. And the S&P rose 165. U.S. stock prices are also still below what they were before the war. Oil prices plunged. U.S. crude dropped 16% to settle at $95 a barrel. Brent crude tumbled 13% to $94 a barrel. Delta Airlines stock rose 4% after it reported first quarter earnings that beat expectations. Meta is launching its first artificial intelligence mode called Muse Spark, which will allow users to ask questions directly within its apps. General Motors is recalling more than 270,000 Malibu vehicles because the rear view camera screen may show a distorted or blank image. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Stock futures all pointing down this morning. The Dow futures are minus 184. That's the latest news. Your traffic is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a crash in Bellevue this morning. It's on 40 eastbound before exit 196. There's an accident. Also, there's construction and cleanup of an earlier truck fire. It's all in the same spot this morning, causing big delays. Otherwise, the roads look pretty good this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends and hope you are doing well and welcome on into a Thursday, April 9th. Breaking news, CNN says ceasefire in jeopardy over Lebanon strikes. You know, a couple of things just real quick. Have we really had a ceasefire? Like, has it been it really hasn't been.
We've had a ceasefire.
Full ceasefire. It's exactly right, Sam. That's what I was going to say. We have had a ceasefire, but Iran, and we covered this yesterday, no, they have been bombing our allies and their neighbors in the Middle East. And so we'll talk a little bit about what is going on today. Well, actually, a lot of bit about what is going on in the Middle East this morning. The president last night posting on Truth Social, all U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of an already substantially degraded enemy will remain in place in and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. He says if for any reason it is not, which is highly unlikely, then the shooting starts. Bigger and better and stronger than anyone has ever seen before. It was agreed a long time ago, and despite all of the fake rhetoric to the contrary, no nuclear weapons, and the Strait of Hormuz will be open and safe. In the meantime, the president wrapping this up saying, our great military is loading up and resting. Looking forward, actually, to its next conquest. America is back, says Donald Trump. So let me bullet point a few things here. Again, the ceasefire never really happened because the Iranians kept bombing the other Middle East nations even after it was announced. And, you know, Israel has continued to be attacked as well. There are other things. There were multiple lists, and this has been talked about. I think I talked about this yesterday. There were multiple lists that the media had. And so they kept, whether it was CNN, whether it was the Washington Post, the New York Times, there were multiple lists that the media were reporting on around the world. Even the BBC had their own list as well. Pakistan had a list. And so some of these lists, they simply... They didn't mesh. They didn't match. There would be some points, some element of one list that wasn't on another list. Iran had a wish list, and this is part of what happened. Iran had a wish list that was given to the Trump administration, and as Caroline Levitt, and I'm going to play this in a minute, Caroline Levitt said that list literally was thrown in the trash because it was an Iranian wish list. But apparently CNN and others reported that as the list that Donald Trump acquiesced to. Now, J.D. Vance, who was a big part of the negotiation, he was asked about this yesterday. Video, guys. This is J.D. Vance yesterday as he was on his way back to America.
So let me just say, given that you guys are going to ask about Iran, let me just say a few things, actually. So, number one, I think it's very important for the American media to be honest with the American people on this particular issue, because it affects not just, you know, the normal issues of public policy. It actually affects peace and war. And here's what I mean. So in the past couple of days, I've seen a lot of reporting from the American media about the 10-point proposal that the Iranians have made. Now, as I know, because I've been involved in this, there are 3 different 10-point proposals, at least, that I've seen floating around. The first 10-point proposal was something that was submitted, and we think, frankly, was probably written by ChatGPT, that was submitted to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. That immediately went in the garbage and was rejected. There was a second 10-point proposal that was much more reasonable, that was based on some back and forth between us, between the Pakistanis and that is the 10-point proposal that the president was referencing in his truth yesterday. And then, frankly, I've seen a third 10-point proposal that's even more maximalist than the first 10-point proposal that's been floating around various social media channels. Now, here's what's interesting about all this, is that I've seen various organs, the New York Times, CNN, others, pick up and run the original 10-point proposal based on little more than a random Yahoo in Iran submitting it to public access television in the country of Iran, and then them saying that somehow represents the negotiating position of the government.
I like how he says, Joan, did you pick this up? Where J.D. Vance says some random Yahoo in Iran.
Love that.
That was kind of funny, actually. Donald Trump continuing to call everyone out. He posted this on Truth Social. The failing New York Times and fake news CNN each reported a totally fake 10-point plan on the Iran negotiations, which was meant to discredit the people involved in the peace process. Hence J.D. Vance. All 10 points were a made-up hoax. Evil losers. Make America great again. That is our president, Donald Trump. Caroline Leavitt also said this yesterday during a White House press briefing. This is audio only.
The Iranians originally put forward a 10-point plan that was fundamentally unserious, unacceptable, and completely discarded. It was literally thrown in the garbage by President Trump and his negotiating team. Many outlets in this room have falsely reported on that plan as being acceptable to the United States, and that is false.
Joan, remind us at 5:35 as the official mom of the show. You know what moms do, Joan? They nag.
Right.
So I completely missed that apparently Donald Trump criticized Caroline Leavitt. Did you know about this story?
I did hear about this.
All right. Can we talk about that at 5:35?
Okay.
It's a little dated.
Yeah.
But I for whatever reason, I just completely missed that. But apparently the president is blaming Caroline Leavitt for his low polling. So I have a thought or two about that. So remind me 5:35. We can talk about that. But, you know, one of these lists, as Caroline Leavitt is talking about this, apparently put out by Iran, indicated was that we were going to allow Iran to hold on to and enrich their uranium, which was obviously a deal breaker because that's what this whole thing was about. Now, their list also included the right to control the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, it's like, really? And there were people that actually didn't take a step back and say, well, that can't be right. Because that's what this whole thing is about. They just go ahead and they post everything, as Donald Trump says, you know, just to discredit the people that were involved in the peace process. And so, you know, for a lot of folks in the media, it'll be like, oh, hey, you know, we're going to go ahead and we're going to post this list as, you know, this is the list, and not really taking a step back and thinking about the context and whether or not they had the right list. Joan, you'll remember when the list came out, I was like, none of this makes sense. They've, you know, and I went through some of the points and I said some of this doesn't make sense. There's also a number of different lists that seem to be out there. And for whatever reason, you know, the real journalists like CNN and the New York Times and so forth, they are unable to, you know, look at these lists and look at the situation where there are or were various lists and not take a step back and think, there's some inconsistencies here. So, you know, this is something that if you are paying attention, you realize what's going on and you wait for everything to settle out. But, you know, Iran, they have all of this uranium. Remember, President Trump yesterday posted that the U.S. and Iran would be working together to dig up all of that uranium, which, you know, if true, and that's what Donald Trump says, if true, that is obviously a huge, huge deal.
With the president's deadline fast approaching and the United States military completely decimating Iran with each passing hour, the regime acknowledged reality to the negotiating team. They put forward a more reasonable and entirely different and condensed plan to the president and his team. President Trump and the team determined the new modified plan was a workable basis on which to negotiate and to align it with our own 15-point proposal. The president's red lines, namely the end of Iranian enrichment in Iran, have not changed. And the idea that President Trump would ever accept an Iranian wish list as a deal is completely absurd. The president will only make a deal that serves in the best interests of the United States of America, and he as a negotiating team will focus on this effort over the next 2 weeks.
All right, so that is Caroline Levitt. The other big question is that there's other questions. I'm just scratching the surface here, but we're going to talk about Israel, going to talk about Lebanon, going to talk about the Strait of Hormuz, and a whole lot more. Very busy morning. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Okay, that accident on 40 eastbound this morning, it's in Pegram. It's between McCrory Lane, exit 192, and Bellevue, exit 196. They temporarily blocked it a couple of minutes ago. Looks like it is open now. The right lane is the only thing that's still blocked. There was a fire in that area. There was a cleanup in that and some construction as well. So it's a mess this morning. 40 eastbound in Pegram, watch yourself. Other roadways are looking good so far. Traffic every 10 minutes. Every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, Joan, thank you. And as far as your weather goes for today, I've got sunny and 76. Joan, does that jive with what you have?
Yes, I had sunny and 78, but
okay,
that's splitting hairs, I think.
We'll go with yours at 78 just to make people happy.
Nice.
So today, sunny and 78. So I thought it was interesting. I heard in your package, Joan, on from ABC that apparently Iran is actually giving vessels maps on how to get through the Strait of Hormuz safely.
That's what ABC is reporting, yeah.
I have not actually seen that anywhere this morning, and maybe I'm just
steer around all the mines that are out there.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. So the Strait of Hormuz is sort of open. So
right.
Now the question is, are they? And I'm going to try to find more. Sam, if you could, we got somebody training today. So I want to know. What vessels is Iran letting through the Strait of Hormuz?
I don't think that they're letting any as of last night. That was yesterday afternoon.
Right.
They allowed some ships to go through and they gave them maps.
Initially. Okay, so that's where we are. So initially they allowed ships to go through, then Israel started bombing Lebanon, and then some other things happened as well. And so they've reclosed the Strait of Hormuz, which is why Donald Trump is so angry and irritated. Okay, so thank you, Joan, for...
Yeah, I think that's where we are. There are a lot of voices talking. There's a lot of voices talking out of anger. There are a lot of voices talking out of support for the president. So it's hard to determine where we actually are in this whole situation.
And there's a lot of voices, talking out of confusion as well. I mean, everybody... The pro-Trump people, and I'm a pro-Trump person, but the pro-Trump people are going to look at this through a certain context and prism. The anti-Trump people are going to look at it through their own, TDS-laden perspective. There's other people. I want answers, and I just want this whole damn thing to be over with. So I get what the president is trying to do. I support the president in what he is trying to do, and will continue to cover it. Another question, by the way, about the Strait of Hormuz and it being open or not. As I said, it was open for a time, then they closed it. As far as what is going on with it now, we have what do they say? All right, Iran is telling the world now it was closed when it was open, and Caroline Levitt says that is unacceptable.
And again, this is a case of what they're saying publicly is different privately. We have seen an uptick of traffic in the Strait today, and I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened immediately, quickly, and safely. That is his expectation. It has been relayed to him privately that is what's taking place, and these reports publicly are false.
So basically what happened is she gave the presser, and after she gave the presser is when we all realized that the Strait of Hormuz was indeed shut down. So, Israel said the cease. Now, this is what's going on with Israel and Lebanon. Israel said and we reported this yesterday. Israel said that the ceasefire didn't apply to Lebanon because Hezbollah never stopped bombing them. Hezbollah, of course, is an Iranian terror proxy. Israel came out, right after all of this and said, we support what Donald Trump is trying to do. This does not apply to Hezbollah and Lebanon, pure and simple. They could not support Lebanon being included. That was something that Iran wanted included, was Lebanon and Hezbollah. And I mean, when I saw some of the various lists that came out, and it said that Iran was looking for not only a guarantee that they would not be bombed or attacked, but that, Lebanon would also not be bombed or attacked. And that was the first thing I said was, okay, well, then is there going to be a guarantee that Hezbollah, who Iran controls and funds, won't be attacking Israel? And then Israel, of course, not making things any easier for President Trump, decided yesterday at that moment, during this time when this is a major point of contention, Israel then decided that they were going to bomb the living crap out of Lebanon, really almost like as a punctuation to all of this. So there's a lot that still needs to be worked out. Iran said that they wanted all of their regional proxies included in a guarantee that they would not be bombed. And, J.D. Vance had this to say.
I actually think, and there's a lot of bad faith negotiation and a lot of bad faith, propaganda going on. I think this comes from a legitimate misunderstanding. I think the Iranians thought that the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't.
Do you think, Joan, that Iran truly misunderstood?
I think J.D. Vance is doing his best there to be a diplomat.
Yep, exactly. Exactly, yeah. Joan.
He wants to use diplomacy and he's working it.
And see, here's the thing. See, I knew you would say that because you're really smart. So you got people that are not as smart as Joan who are saying, well, that's up to America and J.D. Vance to make sure that it's, crystal clear in the agreement. I heard that, and I thought, just like you, Joan, he's working it. He knows what he has to do. Sometimes as the adult in the room, you need to be able to say certain things, not to get mired down in some sort of a detail or whatever that is going to completely torpedo the whole thing. So J.D. Vance is basically saying, yeah, you know what? They're bad. Iran, they misunderstood. And this is really where we're at. I mean, J.D. Vance is working it like a diplomat should.
And it just didn't. We never made that promise. We never indicated that was going to be the case. What we said is that the ceasefire would be focused on Iran and the ceasefire would be focused on America's allies, both Israel and the Gulf Arab states. That said, the Israelis, as I understand it, again, I'm supposed to get a fuller report when I get on the plane, have actually offered to be, frankly, to check themselves a little bit in Lebanon because they want to make sure that our negotiation is successful. That's not because that is part of the ceasefire. I think that's the Israelis trying to set us up for success, and we'll, of course, see how that unfolds in the next few days.
All right, so then the question becomes, okay, so Israel bombs Lebanon. And by the way, just so we're clear, Hezbollah, funded by Iran, they are constantly bombing Israel as well. And Israel certainly does have a right to defend itself. But, this is going to be, again, another major issue, a point of contention between America and Iran and also, of course, Israel as well. Israel, again, apparently bombing Lebanon, killed 182 people, 890 wounded. So, for me, this is one of those moments where I would be willing to bet that even though Israel has the right to do this, I'd be willing to bet that Trump got on the phone with Benjamin Netanyahu and said, can you just pump the brakes for a few days while we work this out? 524, Joan's got the news coming up at 5:30. Joan, what's coming up?
Yeah, on the way here, Dan, more fragile than ever. We've got the latest on the ceasefire with Iran. Also, the punishment for the Your Hot school board member. Yeah, we'll tell you what that is, too. It's coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. It's now 5:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Sunny and 78 degrees. What a gorgeous day we have ahead. There could be a hitch in the ceasefire brokered with Iran this week. ABC's Ian Pannell is in Tel Aviv. He says Iran has closed down the Strait of Hormuz once again.
Because of what was happening in Lebanon with escalating Israeli strikes, there'd been some question mark as to whether the Israeli operation in Lebanon was going to be part of this broader ceasefire. Israel said absolutely not. And Iran responded by saying, OK, we will stop the flow of ships through the Strait of Hormuz again.
Also from Iran, a nationwide internet shutdown now enters its 41st day. The Iranian government turned off internet access for Iranians on day one of the conflict, February 28th. The Washington County School Board held its emergency meeting yesterday over board member Keith Irvin calling a student member hot. Ultimately, though, the board voted only to censure him. There was a lot of heated testimony. He spoke about his poor word choice. That's what he called it.
Could I have said it better? Yes, I could have. And I'll be more mindful of that going forward.
He went on to say that he was referring to the work that she had done, that she was on a roll. It had nothing to do, he says, with her appearance. The censure is a formal condemnation, but it does not remove Irvin from office. Independence High School in Williamson County placed on lockdown yesterday over a swatting incident. Somebody had placed a fake call about a student within the school. It didn't take long to determine that that was a prank. Extra police were called in, and Principal Nikki Patton wrote in an email to school families that the Department of Homeland Security is also involved in this investigation. That's the latest news. Stick around for your traffic next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. All right, it looks like it's closed once again. 40 eastbound is closed down this morning between Kingston Springs, Ashland City, and Bellevue. That's exits 188 and 196. Closed off there because there was a crash earlier. There was a truck fire earlier. There's construction, all the cleanup involved in that. So they have said that they have closed it down eastbound. This is in Pegram, between McCrory Lane and Bellevue. Otherwise, this morning on 6540 and on 24, we're not looking at any big delays. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.536 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open, 615-737-8986. Welcome on into your Thursday, April 9th. And today, sunny and a high of 78. Joan Jones is here, and Sam Rutherford, of course, producing as well. All right, so real quickly, the Caroline Leavitt thing. So I had somebody send me a note asking me what my opinion was on Donald Trump saying that Caroline Leavitt is doing a terrible job and kind of blaming her for his current woes as far as his polling goes. Now, I don't know if the president was serious, though. Like, I don't think that, I mean, has he truly been blaming Caroline Leavitt for his polling woes? Because, I mean, personally, I think she's doing a great job. We've actually had the conversation, Joan, you and I have, about how we've had the debate who was better, Kayleigh McEnany or Caroline Leavitt.
Yeah. So the way that he did that, which I've seen him do before, is he says something that he really means. He couches it with a bit of a joke and then moves on. So we have the audio, and I think maybe that I can explain it better after you listen to it.
All right, go ahead.
Guys, do you have it there?
Oh.
I mean, I have it if we need it, but
Well,
yeah. Okay. I got it. Here we go.
all right.
Maybe Caroline's doing a poor job. I don't know. She's my representative. You're doing a terrible job. Should we keep her? I think we'll keep her.
I don't think he was serious. Do you think he was serious, Joan?
I think there was yes.
You do think he was serious?
I think he was serious.
Okay.
Again, he kind of says, "Oh, should we keep her? Yeah, we'll keep her." But I bet, I'd bet $100 that when she goes out on maternity leave, which is coming up very soon, that we don't see her again.
You shut your mouth.
I'm telling you.
You know what? So here's what people have noticed. People have noticed that since that comment was made, that Caroline Leavitt has kind of taken a step back and just not been as present. So maybe she took it seriously. And I think that she
shows up every day to her,
Right.
to the press briefings in the press briefing room.
It's her job.
She is just as, sharpened teeth with the press as she always has been.
Right.
I don't see her backing down at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that once she goes out on maternity, we're just not going to see her again. She's going to stay home to spend more time with the family. And I'm air quoting that.
Yeah, well, she's pregnant and
Yeah.
she's, she's got a husband who's a little older.
A lot older.
A lot older. How many years?
Like, what is it, 30 years or something?
I ain't judging.
No.
I ain't
Good
judging.
for her. Like, whatever.
So do you think that if she ultimately then decides to move on, I don't know who would be waiting in the wings.
Right.
I used to like Tricia McLaughlin,
Yeah.
who was
She's got an annoying voice, though.
well, she's gone. She got
Did
crap
she get
canned.
along with Christine Ohm?
She did. She did. So I don't know who would be waiting in the wings at this
Wow.
point. I know that Donald Trump would probably find somebody somewhere to do it.
Yeah.
I think that Caroline Leavitt, she's done this long enough now that she's made a really good name for herself. And so she would have a good future probably on Fox News. Do you have an opinion as to which one was better, Caroline Leavitt or
Kayleigh McEnany?
Kayleigh McEnany?
They were both.
They've
both been
really good.
I like Caroline because I think even more so than the first administration, the press room has been whipped into shape. And that's largely her doing. And I also like, and I don't know if Kayleigh did this or not, but I really like that Caroline gathers the people within her office. They pray in the morning so that they get it right. They do the business of the country, and then they go about their day. There's something very settling to that. Would Kayleigh do that too? Absolutely. She's a faithful girl too. So, but I think they both have sharp teeth and are very capable of going after the press. Maybe Kayleigh will go back.
Yeah, maybe. No.
Yeah,
she is making bank over there on Fox News.
Plus, that job at the White House is just unforgiving.
It's a meat grinder, man.
Dan, who's your favorite between the two?
Travel.
My favorite between the two would be, I liked Kayleigh McEnany.
I'm with you. I feel like she was scarier.
McEnany. Now, a whole bunch of folks, 4702 and 4345, both say that Sarah Huckabee Sanders was the best.
She was too.
I'm going Sean Spicer.
Get out of here. No.
I'm kidding.
Okay, good.
I'm kidding. But I mean, I felt bad for Sean Spicer. Like I did. I mean, the first day when he had to come out and he's all wrinkled and the ill-fitting suit and he's got the piece of paper and Donald Trump's inauguration was the most watched. I mean, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It was just.
Yes.
I felt a little bit, and I am a fan of Sean Spicer, by the way. I'm not hating on him.
And his ill-fitting suits that President Trump made him, he took them out and bought him all new suits because they didn't fit well.
I loved that part of the story, Sean
too.
Spicer. Can we talk about, you had a story about an explosion.
Yeah.
And I'm a little confused by the story. So it was in the 6 o'clock newscast. Can we just go ahead and like redo the story? It's about a guy who was smoking, and he was around a bunch of chemicals called, is it acetone?
It's acetone, yeah.
And it just play what you played.
Okay, and I'm going to stop it at the really funny part of the story. So here, this is Jordan James from Channel 4.
The Nashville Fire Department tells us that a person was using acetone to strip the floor while smoking a cigarette. Somehow an explosion occurred.
So that, did you catch what I caught? He says somehow an explosion occurred. I don't know. Jordan?
Yeah. Maybe it was the acetone and the smoke.
Maybe that's what it was. Do you know how I learned? I wonder how many people remember this. Joan, you're of a certain age, so am I. So, do you remember the movie Earthquake? This is how I remembered and realized that like smoking and like chemicals and gas don't mix.
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie Earthquake?
I do, but I don't know what you're talking about.
So, during the earthquake, a guy yells to another guy who is, cigarette dangling from his mouth, "Go turn off the gas."
Oh, yeah.
And so the guy with the dangling cigarette runs to turn off the gas, and of course there's a major explosion.
Yeah.
That's when I learned that smoking and chemicals and gas fumes and all that, they don't mix. So, but the fact that dude says somehow an explosion occurs, I mean, I'm an idiot. I'm like a knuckle-dragging idiot, and I know that flames and cigarettes and chemicals don't mix. So don't mix well, unless you want to have an explosion. But I did look it up. Smoking near acetone can cause an explosion because acetone produces highly flammable vapors that ignite extremely easily. The danger isn't the liquid itself, it's the invisible cloud of vapor around it. A cigarette, a lighter, even a small spark can ignite acetone vapors, causing a flash fire or explosion if the vapors are concentrated. I mean,
which when you're stripping a room in a house, they can be pretty concentrated.
Yeah. Especially if the windows are closed.
Somehow an explosion occurred.
It's ranked as a
thing?
hazard class 3 flammable liquid for DOT.
See, that's what they should have put in the news story. Not somehow an explosion occurred, but, acetone is a whatever, and that's how the explosion occurred. because, you want to inform people, but also you might want to remind people, I don't know, don't smoke around chemicals.
It's fire diamond rating. The flammability is a 3 out of 4, meaning it can be ignited under almost all ambient temperature conditions.
Can I ask a question? So, was this guy new on the job? Like, how do you, if you are putting the acetone chemical down on the floor and you're somebody that does this kind of thing, how do you not know that it's flammable?
I think.
And why are you smoking a cigarette when you're doing it? And by the way, if somebody's smoking a cigarette in my house, out they go.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
See.
Is the guy okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
He.
I mean,
has
I don't mean to.
Transported. He's in non-critical condition.
Good.
He does have burns.
Yeah, of course, and he's got a long. And I don't mean to criticize, but I'm just, let this be a lesson to folks. If we're going to learn something from this story, number one, if you're a journalist, do a modicum of research in your story. That's number one, and number two, how did this guy not know?
Yeah.
Like that sounds to me like, I don't know, poor training.
Well, this may have been like a residential. No, it looks like it might be.
I'd be willing to bet that on the box or whatever that the acetone came in, the container, that it says highly flammable.
Yeah, on the back, it typically comes in metal jugs, and on the back bottom corner is where you'll see that warning label.
Okay.
But the burn that's really going to hurt the most is the amount of times he's going to get ridiculed for this.
Oh yeah. Acetone is what is used to take nail polish off fingernails. I mean, it's used everywhere. It's not an uncommon thing. Most people don't smoke around it, though.
Let's see. 4469 says, "Hey, Dan, that's how the fire started that burnt down the former Johnny Cash home in Hendersonville."
Whoa.
By the way, let's see here. Marco Rubio could, if Caroline Leavitt leaves, then Marco Rubio could be the new White House spokesperson.
Did you see the memes of him as the Easter Bunny?
Yeah.
I sure did. 1949, Caroline is hot as Hades. So that guy just got a censure.
Like smoking a cigarette in a room full of acetone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yes, the guy, you're hot.
Right.
Guy, he got censured, which means nothing.
Did you believe his, did he apologize or did he just say oops?
He kind of said oops. He said he wasn't talking. He said if you saw the video clipped for that one moment, you didn't get the whole story. He said he had been talking about what a great job she was doing because she had presented evidence before the board. And he said, you're hot, like, your work is on fire. He said it didn't have anything to do with her physical presentation.
And Sam and I yesterday, being the guys that we are, we listened to what he said, and our takeaway, and I don't want to keep talking about this, but our takeaway was that he was saying it as frankly a creeper guy would say to a woman. But you know what? They censured him. The girl or her parents have not come out and said anything about this. And so, ultimately, okay. I mean, Fox News apparently had it last night.
Oh, it was all over. It was on NBC. It was all over the place.
This guy. I mean, he's got to be. I wonder if he's married. Like, can you imagine his wife? It's like, what the hell were you doing?
Yeah.
What would you do if that was, what would you say to your husband if, not that John ever would, but if that was your husband,
would not.
what would you say? What would you do?
You knucklehead.
Knowing Joan, I think it would sound more like taser, taser, taser.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Kellyanne Conway could be the new White House spokesperson. She could.
She could. She's got a lot going on in her personal life, so maybe that part of it's over now.
What does she got going on?
She and George got divorced.
She's got a lot less going on in her life. You want to talk about addition by subtraction? That dude's a.
Yes, agreed. She's got, kid trouble.
Oh, does she?
She did.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
So, I think her time at the White House is done. She's long past. There are so many people that could be really good for the job, but they have to take like the Caroline test and the Kaylee test. You've got to really be able to go out there with your gloves on and knock the snot out of the press.
I nominate Joan Jones.
Yeah, you know what? She could definitely do the gig. Hey, is my audio up? Joan, I've got a great idea.
What is it?
All right, you ready? So,
I am.
Do you know what this is? That is the theme to The Walking Dead.
Oh.
I've got a great idea. When we're talking about the left and TDS and how absolutely insane they are, I want to do a new segment. You know what I want to call it?
What is it?
The Woking Dead.
I think I'd rather get hit by a shovel.
Shut up, Sam. I didn't ask you. The Woking Dead. Because think about it. What have I said about these idiot, moron, TDS liberals that are all over TikTok and, Instagram, and they're screaming about, Donald Trump and all of this nonsense. They got piercings all over their face. And I've said before, it's like they're zombies, like the Woking Dead. I could do that, You think that's a good idea?
I like it, personally.
See, I like it. Sam hates it.
You like it because there's string music in the background, Joan.
You think that's why I like it?
Ooh, you better watch out, Sam. Did you hear that tone? Joan went wife awfully quick.
I'm just saying.
I'm going tires.
She's brutally honest about your Dan jokes.
Right, and Joan just said that she actually likes it.
Yeah,
that's what Joan said.
He said.
I mean, personally, okay, so here's what happened.
You have to let me call you Ricky then.
Why is that?
Because if I'm going to be into this, I need something to draw me in.
Okay, so I asked Amy about this, about whether or not she thought it was a good idea. I kid you not. She sat there for about 20 seconds in stunned silence, saying, "Are you sure about this?" And I said, "Well, I'm not anymore." I thought it was a good idea until Amy was like into stunned silence. But here's what I mean. Here's what I mean about the Woking Dead, right? So if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you got an aged elderly woman, and she has this to say about Donald Trump supporters and white men.
Friendly reminder, as a white American woman, I will no longer be dating white men. I'm looking for anything other than a white man, okay? Just a heads up.
So that's what I mean, the Woking Dead.
On behalf of white men everywhere, we accept this concedence and we pass you on to the next.
She's not exactly, what did that guy say about that 15-year-old? This woman is like the exact opposite. Actually,
David Lee Murphy, there might be a little dust on the bottle.
Listen, older women, I mean, can be very attractive, obviously. Joan?
Yes.
Sam?
You drown yourself.
No. Where's my golden shovel? No, what I'm saying is...
That was more like a golden life raft.
All I'm saying is that this woman is not somebody who I would assume she's got 1,000 men that are just dying to take her out, right? So she's decided that she is so hot with 2 T's that she's just not going to date white men. And so as a white guy who's perfectly happy, but as a white guy, I would look at her and I would say, well, that's okay because no interest whatsoever on my part. You know what I mean? That's just the natural response to that. I don't know why Sam brought it the whole thing about dust on the bottle. Again, as a man of a certain age, I think older women can be hot with 2 T's, just not this one.
Well, it means you don't know the song because he says, "Don't let it fool you about what's inside," because there might be some dust on the bottle.
All right, whatever.
Wait a minute, that's the woman?
No, Sam is.
No, the woman that's on the screen right now.
Yeah, that's the woman.
Well.
What?
I mean,
she's older. She's bespeckled. She's got gray hair, and I don't know, Joan. Do you find her attractive?
She's not hot with 1 T.
Yeah.
if you know what I'm saying.
That's right. Get her, Joan. Be catty.
Go, Joan. All right, now I got another one though. Just really quickly. I've got another one, and this woman was the inspiration for my new bit, The Woking Dead. You know what the great thing though, Joan, is about my new bit, The Woking Dead? I know that no one is going to steal it because it's so bad. Right? Now, nobody tell Chris Hand.
Oh.
Nobody tell Chris Hand because I'm going to spring this on him at 8:35 and see what he says. But anyway, on the screen right now, and I'm going to describe it for radio folks, you have a woman with like hot pink, purple hair, a black stripe in the middle, really short hair. She's got
the runway strip.
She's got a septum ring, and she's got earrings around, or like face rings through, like around her lips, all the way around. And of course, she's got tats everywhere. Not that I mind tats, but this is what she's saying. She has doxed her parents because they are supporters of ICE and Donald Trump.
Okay, so I'm making this video for my own protection. So I am not suicidal. I don't want to die. I have a full life to live, and I'm happy. But I just outed my parents for Trump and ICE supporters. So if anything happens to me, I don't know. So I'm just putting this out there for my own safety. I'm not suicidal. I'm a great mother, and I have no bad things to do to anyone whatsoever. I was using my freedom of speech, playing music, and since they support Trump and ICE, they got so mad, and now they're kicking me out.
Yeah, right. So literally what you decided to do was you decided to dox your parents. And honestly, that is why I believe that she is part of the Woking Dead.
Okay, so I'm making this video.
That's right. All right, there you go. I thought that was a good bit.
They didn't kick her out because of her
No.
hair, tattoos, and those things all over
the
her
things around her face. No, but I think she's a Woking Dead kind of person. I do. And there you go. I don't know. Good bit, bad bit. Sam is a thumbs down. Joan is a thumbs up.
I like it.
Well, after you themed the music around Crazy Lady's quotes, yeah, I'd give it a B+.
All right, very good. Very good. We'll see what Chris Hand thinks. Nobody tell him. All right, 5:15. We are running way late. Joan, what's coming up in the news at 6? Or maybe 6:03.
Yeah, maybe. A look at the ceasefire this morning and what Fox News' Trey Yingst is saying about whether or not this looks like it'll hold. It's coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Is the ceasefire in trouble? Well, there are hiccups. The Strait of Hormuz is not open this morning. Iran claims that Israel is violating the terms of the ceasefire. And then what President Trump said about Iran's uranium.
To work with the Americans to allow an operation inside of Iran to dig up and get rid of the enriched uranium. And so there's still a major disconnect there. And today there was a major statement from the atomic chief in Iran who said the enemy, quote, won't succeed in restricting Iran's enrichment program. And again, at this point, the Iranians do not look serious in their efforts to reach an agreement with the United States. And so this weekend will be incredibly consequential. And if the Iranians continue to go back on these commitments that they made to the Americans as it relates to enriched uranium and also access in the Strait of Hormuz, we are likely looking at a situation where the region returns to war.
That is Trey Yingst at Fox News. We'll keep an eye on it. Metro Water has rejected a one-time $25 bill credit for its customers tied to January's ice storm. Well, some of the customers claimed their water bills were hundreds of dollars higher because they opened their faucets to let the water drip at the company's urging. Councilmember Courtney Johnson says makes sense to her.
When Metro Water Services says to drip your faucets, that is good advice so that you don't have a burst pipe that would cause thousands of dollars in damage.
Johnson on the Matt Murphy show yesterday. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. The prospect of an impending end to the U.S.-Iran conflict thrilled investors Wednesday. The Dow Jones soared 1,300 points to 47,910, its strongest advance in a year. The S&P gained 2.5%. The Nasdaq Composite surged 2.8%. The inflation report due out tomorrow will be the first to reflect the impact of the Gulf War. Economists expect the March Consumer Price Index to show prices leaping nearly 1% in just 1 month and 3.3% year over year. If it isn't war, it's the weather pushing up consumer costs. An unusually strong El Nino expected to warm the world's waters in the coming months may disrupt crop production, making food more scarce and driving up prices. Burger King wants you. The fast food company is hoping to hire about 60,000 people into the summer, from entry-level counter clerks to restaurant managers. Burger King has about 6,500 locations nationwide. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Stock futures pointing down. The Dow futures minus 175 right now. That is the latest news. Traffic is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. So they still got the 40 eastbound this morning. Looks like it is reopened. This is inbound in the Bellevue area, just before Bellevue, exit 196. There was a truck fire in that area and some construction as well. So the right lane is still blocked off. There's a huge backup of traffic there. It may take a couple of minutes to get it all through. But again, the roadway has been reopened. What we have now is Murfreesboro Pike shut down. Old Hickory Boulevard to Laverne Couchville Pike. That is closed for what's called an investigation. Don't know anything about this yet, and we'll take a look into it. But again, Murfreesboro Pike right now is closed between Old Hickory Boulevard and Laverne Couchville Pike. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends, and welcome on in to your Thursday, April 9th. Lots going on. Strait of Hormuz, apparently it is closed. As a matter of fact, got a big story here from the Daily Mail, and the headline is Iran's pay up or get blown up threat. Map shows heavily mined Strait of Hormuz as Tehran demands $1 million in crypto tolls. And oil prices apparently are surging once again. Joan, do you have the oil futures up?
Yes.
How did they look this morning? I know that, for one day it was like the market was back and oil was down and things were.
So Brent crude, which is the global index, is at 98.56 a barrel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up, yeah.
Okay.
And the West Texas is at 99.60 a barrel, so it's up as well. It's going to go back and forth until this is all settled.
Yeah.
And it's far from settled.
Oh, it is far from settled. All right. Thank you, Joan. So it looks like, and we did talk about this last hour, it looks like what they did, they opened up a few ships and then closed it again after Israel blasted Lebanon. J.D. Vance talking about all of this yesterday and about how it was simple misunderstanding when the Iranians claimed that Lebanon was supposed to be part of the ceasefire. And of course, that turned out not to be the case. Donald Trump has been talking about this last night and this morning, posting on Truth Social. I'll get to that here in a second. But this is the story from the Daily Mail on the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard may have put sea mines in the Strait of Hormuz during the war, a chart published by semi-official news agencies in Iran suggesting this morning. Tehran has also begun demanding massive cryptocurrency fees from passing ships as oil prices skyrocket during the fragile first days of a 2-week ceasefire. Charts dated from February 28th until April 9th were published by the news agencies on Thursday, showing a large circle marked danger zone in Farsi over the traffic separation scheme. Now, a couple of things. Number one, we don't really know if this map, which is supposedly showing, where the mines are or whatever it's showing, we don't necessarily know if this is true. We don't know if Iran is, just bluffing. Have they really put the mines in the water? How many mines are there? Are they just trying to scare people away from the Strait of Hormuz? Because remember, people keep asking me the question, how can Iran keep the Strait of Hormuz closed? Well, it's because they have the ability to not only use drones to attack ships. I don't know if they'd use missiles, but they also supposedly have put mines in the water. That's how they do it. And then the ships are unable to get insurance because of those dangers. Anyway, the charts dated from February 28th until April 9th were published by these news agencies talking about how this is a danger zone. This was the route ships used to take through the strait, a narrow mouth of the Persian Gulf through which 20% of all of the oil and natural gas traded once passed. The message, they say, may be intended to pressure the United States as uncertainty hangs over the ceasefire, and further negotiations are set to begin in Pakistan on Friday. On a Wednesday, of course, Iran warned that oil tankers will be destroyed if they try to travel along the strait without permission, as it seeks to retain control over the passage during the ceasefire. They also say a radio message was broadcast yesterday by the regime to all oil ships in the vital waterway, saying if any vessels try to transit without permission, they will be destroyed. And again, now they're offering, reportedly, they're saying that you got to pay $1 million in cryptocurrency to be able to pass through. And so now the question is, okay, so it's either closed or it's open to the people who are, and the nations and the companies who are willing to pay $1 million in cryptocurrency to access the passage. So that's what's going on. And it is, of course, as Joan just mentioned, it's having an impact on the markets. J.D. Vance is very much involved in these negotiations. He's been talking a lot about this. By the way, earlier it was a $2 million per ship toll. Now we're hearing from the Daily Mail it's $1 million in cryptocurrency, whatever. The question is, oh, and by the way, Donald Trump actually said at some point yesterday, maybe Iran and America have some sort of a joint venture to get the Strait of Hormuz opened. So in addition to all of the bombs dropping in Lebanon, of course, with Israel bombing Hezbollah in Lebanon, Iran, I opened up the show today talking about how we got a lot of people saying this ceasefire is fragile. That's the word that J.D. Vance is using. I'm using the word tenuous, but the reality is that we never really had a ceasefire. America has been honoring the ceasefire, but Iran has not been honoring the ceasefire. They were bombing, these other nations yesterday, all flippin' day. So then Iran, this was part of the storyline last night and this morning. Iran, this nation has such gall. Iran is now accusing the U.S. of breaching the ceasefire. They say that Israel's attacks on Lebanon, drones breaching Iranian airspace, and the White House's insistence that Tehran will not enrich uranium all constitute violations of a 10-point proposal Donald Trump had signed off on. So their exact quote was this, and then I'll jump to traffic, but their exact quote was, now the very workable basis on which to negotiate has been openly and clearly violated even before the negotiations begin. In such situation, a bilateral ceasefire or negotiations is unreasonable. So that's kind of where we stand. We kind of sort of maybe somewhat have a ceasefire. At least we're not bombing Iran. Iran, though, is bombing everybody else. Israel is bombing Lebanon. Hezbollah has actually returned fire now. And so it goes. Everybody's talking about Donald Trump and Taco. He always chickens out, which I think is absolute. Taco is BS, Joan.
It's BS. And
that's what I'm going to say.
He has another Truth Social out.
Okay, go.
It's from 7 hours ago, but,
yes.
The man is up all hours of the night. All ships, aircraft, all U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of an already substantially degraded enemy will remain in place in and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. If for any reason it is not, which is highly unlikely, then the shooting starts, and he put that in capital letters.
Yeah.
Shooting starts bigger and better and stronger than anyone has ever seen before. It was agreed a long time ago, and despite all the fake rhetoric to the contrary, no nuclear weapons. And the Strait of Hormuz will be open and safe. In the meantime, our great military is loading up and resting, looking forward, actually, to its next conquest. America is back.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not shying away, and nor should he shy away. So I love that. I love the bravado. Of course, cue the pearl clutching, because, that's going to start happening again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the shooting starts.
Oh, it's war crimes. He's going to commit war crimes. But then if he doesn't commit the war crime, everybody's going to complain and scream taco. All right, it is 6:16. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Antioch, Murfreesboro Pike closed between Old Hickory Boulevard and Laverne Couchville Pike for an accident. Bellevue, 40 eastbound before Bellevue. Earlier truck fire blocks the right lane. Delays from McCrory Lane. Talbot's Corner, 65 southbound. An accident at Trinity Lane on the shoulder.
All right, very good. As far as your weather goes for today, it is going to be mostly sunny and a high of 78. We spoke about this a little bit, I think it was yesterday or the day before, but there is an update to this, Joan and Sam. We talked about the niece and the granddaughter of Soleimani. They were living large here in America on TikTok. You've got this young, hot Iranian girl who is... she's taking photographs outside of helicopters and fancy cars, the whole thing. And so Marco Rubio, the State Department, is now going after, because they've already picked up these two, they're now going after, it would appear, 3,000 to 4,000 elites living in the U.S., Iranian elites living in the U.S. Aisha Husni reported on this from Fox News, and this is part of what she had to say.
Women in Iran who get lashed, beaten, thrown acid in their faces, even killed for showing their hair. And then you've got relatives of Iran's power players here in the U.S. acting like the Kardashians. We told you about the niece and great-niece of slain General Qasem Soleimani, flaunting their lavish life here on U.S. soil. Their visas are now getting revoked.
The niece and the great-niece of Soleimani. So,
she's Aisha Husni is from Pakistan.
Aisha Husni, yeah.
Yeah. So
I know her, right?
No. What?
Yeah, I worked with her at WoWo in Fort Wayne.
No way.
I was Aisha's boss, and I remember when she came to me, just very quickly as a sidebar. I remember because I was at WoWo and I was the program director and news director and all that, and so she was one of my employees, and she was a news anchor. And she came into my office one day. She said, well, I've always wanted to do TV, and I'm going to work for Fox in Indianapolis. And she went to Indianapolis, was there working for Fox for many years. And then before I know it, there's Aisha Husni on Fox News.
That's
on
awesome.
the network. So, yeah, she's great. Anyway, so you were saying about Aisha? Yeah, she's from Pakistan. That's exactly right.
My husband thinks she's hot.
Your husband?
Yeah.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with anything, but
no, I'm just I'm not going to confirm or deny because I know her, and I don't. Not that she would even remember me. I worked with her for a couple of years, but yeah, she's great. She's very, very cool and wicked smart.
Very knowledgeable. Yep.
So they go into the homes of the niece and the great niece of Soleimani.
Yeah.
And number one, they live in a house like in L.A. area. Now, the home is worth about $500,000, which honestly is pretty good for L.A.
It's nothing, though.
Yeah. Remember, though, these women, this is the family of a guy, a terrorist mastermind, Qasem Soleimani, who Trump killed years ago. But they've been living it up, and they look into the car, and they look into the home, and they've got all kinds of, like, fancy gadgets and stuff, and... they're just, they're I don't know if you would call them Temu Kardashians, but I mean, clearly they're trying to portray a certain image on the socials as, these young, hip Iranians living in California, living in the United States. And they posted pictures of them riding jet skis and the like, and just, hey, we're cool and hip Iranians living large, while women in Iran have little to no rights, and they have to wear hijabs and all the other things that we know about a lack of women's rights in Iran.
Now we're learning about other relatives of other top Iranian leaders teaching American students here in our homeland. The New York Post reports that Isa Hashemi, Isa as in Jesus, the Arabic for Jesus, is the son of Iranian insider Masumeh Ebtekar, and he's living in LA, allegedly teaching there. His mom, known as Screaming Mary, was a spokeswoman for the U.S. Embassy hostage crisis. We all remember that.
So Screaming Mary was a spokesperson for the hostage takers. And so what she would do is she would basically go out and she would scream anti-American BS. And now her son is apparently living in America and teaching American students. And so, this report on Fox News talks about the hypocrisy of these people living large in America while denouncing America, praising the Islamic Revolutionary Guard in Iran, and supporting the crackdown on women's rights there in Iran. And so Marco Rubio is like, oh, no, we're not doing this. According to the New York Post, they are now going to find 3,000 to 4,000 of these, elite Iranians that are living in America, mainly, I'm assuming, in the coastal cities, Los Angeles, New York, maybe Chicago, whatever. And they're going to send them back to Iran.
Deport them all.
It's like, okay, you know what? America sucks so bad, then no America for you. And off to Iran you go. And so apparently the niece and the great niece of Soleimani, I guess they're actually in custody. And they're in ICE custody, and they're going to go back to Iran.
In Texas. They're in Texas right now.
I don't feel sorry for them. Do you?
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. Nor do I feel sorry for the 3,000 to 4,000 other Iranians, elite Iranians, that are living here. Now, there's some parts of the New York Post story that are not confirmed, whether or not they'll be able to get to all 3,000 to 4,000. And by the way, this is not to say that there's not truly some people that are living here in America from Iran that are not loving America and respect Americans, and have been talking about the evils of Iran. Obviously, those are the people that we want to stay because they have very important voices indeed. 6:24, Joan's got the news at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, Murfreesboro police are still searching for a couple of people who robbed an armored car. That's coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:24 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN Window Nation. Now listen, spring is here. Summer's next. It is a great time to open your windows. And listen, if you've got windows that they don't easily open, maybe they leak, maybe they're broken, maybe they need repainting again, check out my friends at Window Nation. They can help you get new energy-efficient windows at a great price. Now, this is my window company. I've got 4 windows in my home from Window Nation, and you should too, because right now they've got a great deal going on. The more you buy, the more you save sale that is going on right now. You could save up to 50% off all the windows for your home. That is a massive amount of savings. You could also get them with 0% interest financing for 5 years. Again, the more you buy, the more you save sale going on right now at Window Nation. Massive savings. You could save up to 50% off all the windows in your home and 0% interest financing for 5 years. So many great reasons to love Window Nation. An A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, 96% customer satisfaction rating, and over 45,000 5-star reviews. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Get your free consultation right now. Go to windownation.com, windownation.com. Again, tell him Dan told you to reach out, windownation.com.
a.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m.
Dan Mandis here. You know, it's been just over a year since I had lens replacement surgery. At Vision for Life with Dr. Horn, I can honestly say this past year of clear vision has been incredible. I don't have to wear glasses. I mean, I can see in the shower. I can see in the swimming pool. I can see when I'm driving. I can see, and it is simply put incredible. Now, you don't really realize how much blurry vision impacts your life until that blurry vision is gone. That's what I've been living for the past year. And it's really a huge difference in my life that I feel every single day. So when I tell you to stop waiting and start living with clear vision, I am speaking from experience. And so whether you are 18, whether you're 80, Dr. Horn has a vision correction procedure that is right for your age, your lifestyle, and yes, your eyes as well. Now, for me, it was lens replacement. For you, it might be LASIK, it might be EVO, it might be custom lens replacement. The procedure, though, I can tell you, it is quick, it is painless, the recovery is fast, and the results speak for themselves. So call Dr. Horn and Vision for Life. Mention my name, 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020, visionforlife.com to schedule your personal consultation, and tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There are new threats to the Mideast ceasefire. Iran apparently closing the Strait of Hormuz again. Here's ABC's Olivia Rubin.
Iran now balking at Trump's main request, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, because they say the Trump administration reversed course on a key element of the plan for Israel to stop bombing Lebanon. But the U.S. saying that was never part of the deal at all.
Also new this morning, Iran's neighbors in the Gulf region have not reported a missile or drone attack by Tehran in the past 24 hours. A job site accident in East Nashville yesterday. Channel 4's Amber Giant.
Police say 42-year-old Stephen Matson is a construction worker who was killed Wednesday morning. According to police, another worker was moving lumber up the hill when his forklift suddenly powered off and began to roll backward down the hill into the path of Matson, who was operating an excavator. As Matson tried to escape, he was pinned between the excavator and the forklift and did not survive.
And police are still investigating that. Murfreesboro police searching still for the two suspects who robbed an armored truck yesterday. This happened at a credit union on West Clark Boulevard. Channel 4's Danielle Ledbetter.
Police say two people with guns drove up in a Nissan Pathfinder. They went up to an armored truck at the ATM, assaulted the guard and stole cash. Officers later spotted their car and chased them on I-40.
And the car exited at I-840 towards Smyrna. That's where police lost track of those suspects. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 631, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Spring is here. It is the perfect time to freshen up the air in your home. And at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they've put together their Spring Breathe Easy package to help you clear out all of that dust and the allergens and the pet dander that's been building up. Now, they're not just going to do a quick check. They're going to give you a full system refresh. Now, that includes an AC tune-up to get you ready for the summer heat, plus an indoor air quality check so you know exactly what your family is breathing. We'll also inspect your ductwork and perform a professional air duct cleaning to remove all that hidden buildup deep inside your system. And to take it a step further, they're going to install a whole home germicidal system to help reduce airborne contaminants. Oh, and by the way, with their premium service, they're going to finish things off with a bonus deodorizer treatment so your system smells as clean as it feels. Now, you're going to get all this with a great price as well. You can get the whole package for $1,199 on a 1.5 to 3 ton system that is normally $1,800. Again, $1,199 for a 1.5 to 3 ton system, or $1,599 on a 3.5 to 5 ton system that is normally $2,099. So if you've been thinking about improving your air quality, this is a great time to do that. Call them, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
Stalls. And I'm not talking about your truck. Male performance is complicated. Treating performance in Tennessee Men's Clinic, powered by Men's Clinic.
635, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mandis here for my friends at the Covered Patio. It's getting warmer. Spring is here. Summer is next. And if you want to add more living space to your home, think about building or upgrading your patio. Now, at the Covered Patio, they've got motorized screens so that you can easily keep the patio open when you want some sun and closed when you want some shade. So your back screened-in porch becomes so much more enjoyable thanks to the Covered Patio. They've got a ton of outdoor living options as well. Listen to this. They've got customized decks. They've got retractable awnings. They've got pergolas, outdoor grilling areas, and a whole lot more at the Covered Patio. They do it all at the Covered Patio. So if you want to upgrade your living space and update your patio, you can do it with the Covered Patio. Now, they are dedicated to fair prices and customized solutions for your specific home and space. So you can enjoy your home a lot more with an incredible patio upgrade from the Covered Patio. Reach out to the Covered Patio. You can find them online, thecoveredpatio.com, 615-695-2407, 615-695-2407. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, thecoveredpatio.com.
There's still an investigation that has Murfreesboro Pike shut down between Old Hickory Boulevard and Laverne Couchville Pike. Watch out for that. 65 in the southbound side, Talbot's Corner this morning. There's a crash in the right shoulder just before Trinity Lane. Got a crash on Old Hickory Boulevard in Madison. This is at East Marathona Road. Also eastbound 40 in Watkins Park. That's just before Charlotte Avenue that you'll find a crash in the right shoulder. And then another one in Creve Hall, 65 south. The left shoulder is blocked at the Hogan Road overpass because of a crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.637 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you are doing well, and welcome on in. It is Thursday. It is April 9th, and Joan, I got to tell you that I'm getting so frustrated with life here in America. I've just decided that I'm not going to pay my taxes.
I think that's a fantastic idea, Dan.
How do you think that would go if I decided not to pay my... Apparently, like, millions of Americans are deciding as a form of protest that they're not going to pay their taxes. This is the headline from MoneyWise. More Americans are refusing to pay their taxes as a form of protest. Of course, they also point out the consequences can be severe. So apparently people are angry about, whatever their complaint is of the day about Donald Trump. And so they're just deciding that they're not going to pay their taxes. Basically, they say people are at their kitchen tables saying, how can I pay taxes when I don't want to pay for things that I abhor? Now, when Joe Biden was president, I abhorred rampant illegal immigration. I continue to abhor, Biden's criminals coming into America and killing people. There's another one, Joan. I don't know if you've seen it. We've all been so focused on the war in Iran, and maybe I'll do the story here in a little bit, but an illegal alien let in during the Biden administration. Not only did they let him in, but they let him off the hook on some sort of a previous offense. He walks up to a woman, illegal alien. He walks up to a woman and beats her in the head with a hammer.
I have seen this.
And kills her. It is horrifying.
Is this the woman that came out of the store?
This is the woman that came out of the liquor store. She was a liquor store clerk. And so she is walking out. Dude's walking up. He's got a hammer, and he hits her in the head with the hammer, and she goes down, and he
walks away.
Beats her to death.
Yeah.
Like he hits her, I don't know, maybe 10 times in the head, and then just walks away. Illegal alien. And so I don't like paying for that. And that's not only was going on during the Biden administration, but, they let them in during the Biden administration, and they let them off during the Biden administration as well. And now we're seeing, American after American after American killed. And so I'd like to just, not pay my taxes as a form of protest. But, the reality is that if these people decide to do that, then they can obviously get in a lot of trouble. But they say that this was once a fringe form of protest, but is now gaining new attention in the Trump era. According to CNBC, more taxpayers are openly exploring what they call tax resistance, with some asking accountants whether they can legally refuse to pay. Dr. Friday, can she help us out? She can help us out. Can we call Dr. Friday? Let's call Dr. Friday. Hey, Joan.
At 6:41 in the morning. I'm sure
call
she's ready to
Dr.
go.
Friday. Or Dr. Friday, if you happen to be listening, call the hotline. I want to know what can happen to people if and see if I doubt she's listening, but see if you can call her and find out if this is legal or not. I mean, I have a very strong inkling that it is not legal to have this kind of a protest, but I guess you've got a lot of people that are thinking that they're going to be able to do this. They say it is a protest that is going mainstream. The motivations vary, but the theme is consistent. Frustration with government spending. See, I mean, I'm all for that. I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's so many stupid things that this government spends our money on. But you know when I really felt this, Joan, was when we were talking about Somali fraud. Remember that whole thing? Well, Joan's gone? Okay, very good. You know what? You know what Joan's doing? She's off talking to her accountant about whether or not she really has to pay her taxes. I think that's what it is. Yes, I want you to call Dr. Friday. How hard is this, you two? I got two producers in there. I'm just kidding. The funny thing is, we've got a new producer, Ryan, who is training, and I just scared the living crap out of him. Ryan, I do that all the time. It's nothing but fun, humor, and a joke. I like to sometimes
to take that in consideration.
I like to play the role of an annoyed talk show host from time to time. I think Dr. Friday is up. If you could give her a call and see if she wants to come on the air with us, because she says she's up during Nashville's morning news. Anyway, some Americans say they don't want their money funding immigration and ICE enforcement or military operations. Others point to rising national debt, cost of living pressures, and foreign aid. The idea is spreading online, too. Social media posts show people debating whether it is worth the penalties to take a stand, with some saying that they are willing to accept the consequences. According to Newsweek, several taxpayers have already taken steps to withhold payments, while others are seriously considering. Now, here's the thing. If I didn't want to pay American taxes, I would just leave America like a lot of these people have. Didn't we talk about this yesterday? Yesterday, we talked about how you got all these people that are, again, thinking about leaving America. Even politicians are amplifying the message. Marjorie Taylor Greene has publicly backed calls for a 2026 tax revolt, reflecting broader anger over government spending and economic pressures. The National War Tax Resistance Coordinating Committee also notes that their website traffic has tripled due to citizens torn between legal obligations and moral beliefs. Yeah, I think that it's, I mean, I would love to do that. Trust me when I say, because I pay a lot of money in taxes, and I bet you, a lot of you folks as well do. One of the things that is going on is you have this notion that America is in decay. And the reason Lawrence O'Donnell says, who, if you don't know Lawrence O'Donnell, you know Lawrence O'Donnell is over there on MS Now.
Nutball.
Nutball, absolutely. A nutball. Have you heard his latest rant against Donald Trump? Because it's turned into a rant not only against Donald Trump, but it's turned into a rant against America, where he is now saying that America is a nation in decline. I've got that for you coming up next. It is 6:45 on Super Talk. Time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you very much. 645 Super Talk 99.7. As far as your weather goes, mostly sunny and 78 degrees. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Yeah, Lawrence O'Donnell. And if you don't remember who Lawrence O'Donnell is, every once in a while I will play I'll play audio from Lawrence O'Donnell, because one of the things that he loves to do is sound so incredibly dramatic. And so I'm going to play some audio from Lawrence O'Donnell. And his problem, of course, is Donald Trump talking about how, civilizations will die and all of that. Now, typically what I like to do is, and you folks that have listened to me for a long time know that I do this. This is audio only, by the way, gentlemen, audio only, is I like to tighten things up You know, if somebody has a long dramatic pause for whatever reason, I will tighten that up because it's radio and I don't like dead air. Well, I've actually left the ever so dramatic pauses of Lawrence O'Donnell in because it paints the picture as to how much this guy really does enjoy his own drama. This is Lawrence O'Donnell. Need some audio, gentlemen. This is Lawrence O'Donnell on MS Now.
Whole civilization will die tonight. Hitler never said that. No head of state in the history of the world ever said that.
So this is one of those oh-so-familiar themes where you've got Lawrence O'Donnell, and he is basically akinning, yet again, Donald Trump and Adolf Hitler, which is the thing that the left does. And so...
But doesn't this kind of move it to next level? Like, he's not Hitler. Now he's worse than Hitler.
Right, and he's completely ignoring the fact that Hitler himself killed millions and millions of Jews.
Yeah.
Yet somehow Donald Trump is worse than Adolf Hitler.
Civilization had to wait literally thousands of years until today, April 7th, 2026, at 8:06 a.m., for a head of state to say and threaten a whole civilization will die tonight. No cruel king ever threatened that. No mass murdering tyrant anywhere in the world ever said that or even thought it was possible. And so the United States of America now must live with the permanent stain on our history that we are the only country in the world who has produced a head of state who said a whole civilization will die tonight. And with that statement, it could not be more tragically clear now that a whole civilization has already died. The whole civilization, beginning with the model of the British Parliament, leading to the first independent American government formed under the Articles of Confederation, followed by the Constitution that wrote the presidency into existence, and nearly 250 years of the American presidency, all of that whole civilization forming the presidency died.
Is this dude not just way, way over the top? And by the way, you know, he's talking about how no king has ever said this, no foreign leader has ever said. No, but they've done it. That's the point that he's, so obviously, clearly missing. And obviously, the president was using that rhetoric to get Iran to the table. And by the way, he freaked out Pakistan enough that they stepped up and they got it done. And so for, Lawrence O'Donnell, the guy is almost like a walking parody of an over-the-top dramatic news person. Do you know what I mean, Joan?
Like Ron Burgundy?
Like a Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
That's exactly
don't
right.
believe you.
The other thing that I've pointed out is, and I've said this ad nauseum, but, Donald Trump and saying that Trump is, just as bad as Hitler or whatever it is that it sanitizes what Adolf Hitler did, and it is anti-Semitic. That is something that, to me, it's clearly true. You sanitize what Hitler did by saying that Donald Trump is like Hitler, then you're sanitizing Adolf Hitler. By the way, I would mention also to Lawrence O'Donnell, the ever so dramatic Lawrence O'Donnell, the Palestinians have said, from the desert to the sea, Palestine will be free, which of course means the annihilation of an entire nation. Where was Lawrence O'Donnell then?
Good point.
And of course, Iran saying death to America. Where is Lawrence O'Donnell then? And so the funny thing about all of this is that Lawrence O'Donnell is so impressed with his own voice and his own dramatic presentation that he has no idea how ridiculous he looks and he sounds. And so he goes on and on to talk about all of the legal issues the president has had with the weaponization of the Justice Department and the legal processes that Donald Trump has had to go through. And he goes on to say that any nation that would elect a man like this is itself dead.
And when that man was elected president of the United States the second time, the very fabric of the civilization that knitted the Constitution into an acceptable form of government for 13 states with varying and sometimes conflicting interests, and delivered a presidency often occupied by the most admired person in the country and always occupied by someone who lived in awe of the civilization that produced the presidency.
Yes.
Until Donald Trump. This is what the collapse of a civilization looks like.
I mean, okay, Joan, is it just me? Or does he sound completely ridiculous?
He sounds like he's trying so hard.
He is,
to
man.
be dramatic.
He sounds like he shut the door in his car, farted, and then went, oh, that's the stuff.
It's like, cuckoo, cuckoo. By the way, forget about the fact that his guy, Joe Biden, completely sold out the American people by lying to us about leaving the border wide open. Forget about the fact that his guy told people that they would not get COVID if they got the vaccine.
Yeah, yeah.
And by the way, if they didn't get the vaccine, they wouldn't be allowed to work. Or an entire media landscape, including Lawrence O'Donnell, who lied about Joe Biden being fit for office as his mind rapidly disintegrated in front of an entire nation. But, you know, they told us that Joe Biden was sharp as a tack. So, you know, Lawrence O'Donnell, just shut up already.
Not to mention the, 13 soldiers killed in Kabul and $85 billion worth of equipment left behind?
That's exactly right. So, I don't know. And so now you have the likes of Lawrence O'Donnell bashing America because we voted for Donald Trump not once but twice. And here's the thing. People like Lawrence O'Donnell, and Joan, I know you know this. People like Lawrence O'Donnell and the rest of the TDS-laden media, they'll never forgive Donald Trump for defeating Hillary Clinton. And so they're still getting over that slap in the face. And Donald Trump will never do anything right, in their opinion, because he proved them wrong. And he beat their preferred candidate, Hillary Clinton. Remember, not one of them came out and endorsed Donald Trump. Every one of them supported Hillary Clinton. And they'll never, ever get over that, including Lawrence O'Donnell. So not only do they hate Donald Trump, but they also hate America for voting him in not once, but twice. It is 6:54. Joan's got the news coming up at 7. Joan.
Yeah, Iran is threatening to end the peace deal, threatening to end the ceasefire. We've got the story of that coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. And Dan Mandis here. I want to tell you about my friends at Contours. Listen, summer is indeed months away, but the work to get that beach bod back, it does begin right now. My friends at Contours, they can help you get it back with FDA-cleared red light technology. Now, red light technology, it is all the rage across America, and Contours, they are experts in this brand new technology. Again, FDA cleared red light technology. Now, they're going to help you target those areas that you hate, whether it is your belly, your arms, or your legs, whatever problem area you have, they can solve that problem. No pain, no surgery, no downtime, just results. And, you know, they're so nice and relaxing, I usually fall asleep during my treatments. Now, real men and women from Franklin and across Middle Tennessee have been checking out Contours. They have indeed been seeing real results. So that beach trip isn't that far away, and neither is Contours. Let them help you get rid of those trouble spots. And right now, the first 10 callers get that special introductory price of just $99. Call this number right now, 615-236-9960, 615-236-9960. Remember, you lose 2 inches across the middle, or it is free in that first session. 615-236-9960. Find them online, contoursllc.com, contoursllc.com. Contours, where all you've got to lose is inches. Dan Mandis here from Mark Spain Real Estate. You can skip the cleaning and sell your home hassle-free with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. You know, the spring real estate market, it is now, of course, in full swing. You can skip the hassle of listing your home on the market and sell your home on your terms with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. We're talking about no showings, no open houses, just a strong all-cash offer and close in as little as 21 days. Now, one of their clients, Caitlin, said working with Mark Spain Real Estate was so easy and they exceeded my expectations. It was a very competitive real estate market. They helped us accomplish our goals. Caitlin says I would 100% work with Mark Spain Real Estate again. Now, they've been helping homeowners just like Caitlin sell their homes for nearly 30 years. They've served over 72,000 satisfied clients, and you could be next. Don't worry about the inconvenience of selling your home. The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate makes the home selling process seamless and, yes, stress-free as well. Find out what the guaranteed offer on your home would be. There's no obligation. 855-299-SOLD is the number, 855-299-SOLD, or go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. This is markspain.com and start packing.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. No traffic flowing freely through the Strait of Hormuz overnight. Iran claims that the Israeli attacks on the terror group Hezbollah's strongholds in Lebanon is a violation of its deal with the U.S.
Iran now threatening it'll retaliate if attacks on Lebanon don't stop. But Hezbollah also striking here in Israel today with multiple rockets. And Prime Minister Netanyahu insisting his country must be able to defend itself. But despite the ongoing tension, talks between the U.S. and Iran are still expected in coming days.
Yeah, and the White House is saying that this ceasefire is still holding this morning. An explosion in East Nashville has severely injured a man. The Nashville Fire Department called to a business in the 900 block of Main Street. That's where they found no fire, but they did find a man who was burned and a collapsed wall. This witness spoke to Channel 4.
I looked outside. There was a big puff of smoke and like dust from the side of the building caved in. He just came outside, seemed pretty chill. He didn't seem like he was stressed out or anything. Maybe it's just like adrenaline from what just happened.
Well, it turns out that man was stripping a floor using acetone when he lit a cigarette. It caused the explosion. The man was transported to the hospital. We don't have any word on his condition. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issuing a silver alert overnight for a 91-year-old man missing from Nashville. His name is Chong Pham, and he was last seen near Haskell Drive in Antioch on Wednesday. He's 5 foot tall, 115 pounds. He's got gray hair and brown eyes, and TBI says that Chung has a medical condition that may impair his ability to return home safely without assistance. If you know anything, call the TBI. The losses just keep mounting. Americans have been scammed out of nearly $21 billion last year.
The voice sounds very real.
Our records show you've been identified as a candidate for emergency tax relief.
And to someone facing a heavy tax bill, her promise of help could be reassuring.
This program is designed to give taxpayers like you a real path forward.
But the FBI says it's one of a soaring number of AI-enabled scams defrauding Americans out of $21 billion a year. The agency's advice, hang up. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Looks like the stock futures remain lower this morning. Dow futures are down 178. The NASDAQ futures losing 45. S&P futures, they're down to 18 points. Oil is trading a bit higher today with the Brent crude oil trading up at $97.70 a barrel. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. They're still working a scene. It's a crash scene at Murfreesboro Pike between Old Hickory Boulevard and Laverne Couchville Pike. It is closed there during an investigation. Also, problems in Hermitage make that on 40 westbound at Stewart's Ferry Pike. There's a crash on the right shoulder. Eastbound on 24 in Jolton, you've got things stop and go because of an accident at the Harper Road overpass. Talbot's Corner, 65, that's southbound as well before Trinity Lane, a crash in the right exit lane. And the exit lane is blocked. And then Madison, Old Hickory Boulevard, a crash at East Marathona Drive. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:06. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. And Joan, one of the things that I absolutely love about Super Talk 99.7 is when I need an expert, we can find one. And Dr. Friday has called into the program. Dr. Friday, our resident tax guru, thank you very much for calling in here to Nashville's Morning News. Your name came up because there is a story out there. The headline is more Americans are refusing to pay their taxes as a form of protest. And they also add, of course, the consequences can be severe. But, you know, the byline here is, how can I pay taxes when I don't want to pay for things that I abhor? Now, last time I checked, Dr. Friday, I'm pretty certain the government doesn't care what you abhor or not. They're taking your tax dollars. Can people do that? Can they just like protest and say, I'm not going to pay my taxes?
Yes, people can try to do that. They end up in jail. Look at Wesley Snipes. It is not an option to file taxes. It is a mandate. Let's put it that way. It's not something we have a choice in. Keep in mind, the IRS is a collection agency. They're not the ones writing the tax law. So they don't care where the money's being spent.
That is interesting. Can you talk about, because as part of this story, because we know that you're clearly on the up and up, but are there some tax attorneys that will try to find a way to do this? Because in the story, they say that people are calling their tax attorneys and trying to figure out a way to do this. Are there people that actually do try as a form of protest?
Yeah, well, people have been protesting taxes for hundreds of years, right? A long time. Anyways, it's been 85 years or so that we've had tax law, but they didn't want us to tax the Tea Party, right? So anyways, people have done, and there has been a couple that I actually, here in Nashville about 25 years ago, there was an attorney that thought he found this loophole where he can merge trust accounts and corporate accounts and individual accounts and basically zero out any tax that you would owe. And, of course, the IRS caught on to it. One of my clients got called in at that time because this was his attorney. Bottom line is they audited everybody. And, very rarely in an audit does somebody walk away without owing money.
Yeah, so obviously not recommended. And if you don't pay your taxes for whatever reason, maybe you're lazy, maybe you feel like you're going to get money back, but you just don't want to bother with it. But I mean, there's serious ramifications. I mean, people can actually, you mentioned Wesley Snipes. People can actually go to jail. What are the average ramifications of someone who doesn't pay their taxes?
Well, you have a lot of different penalties. Failure to file is a penalty, and that's 5% per month up to 25% of what you owe. That's pretty hefty. Then you've got the interest rate, which is almost 12% now, and then you have failure to pay, another 0.5%. They can easily almost double your tax bill in 2 years. So if you only owed $1,000, if you decide not to pay and you wait 2-3 years, you will be owing twice, if not more than twice the amount you did. So the penalty is the hard part, you know what I mean, Dan? I mean, it's like if you don't file tax, at least if you file and don't pay, there is a little bit of situation, but failure to file is one of the heftiest penalties the IRS has.
What if it's somebody who, like, just doesn't make a lot of money? I'm going to be honest. I was in this situation in my early 20s where, I mean, I worked 1,000 part-time jobs and I didn't make any money. I just kind of figured that I wasn't going to get any money back, and I didn't file 1 year. Right. Ooh, was that a mistake? So if somebody's like how I was in that situation, they make very little money, they didn't bother. Is there sort of is the penalty for them different than somebody who has a lot of money and is trying to get, and just refuses to file their taxes for whatever reason?
The penalties are no different necessarily, but if you don't owe any money and you don't file, the government's more than glad to keep your money. You can only get refunds up to 3 years. I have people that come in and haven't filed for 15, 20 years. So they've left money on the table thinking that the IRS will apply it to their outstanding balance, which they will not in most cases because they never filed in the first place, so they didn't claim the refund. And the IRS can go back 10 years to get money. So it's not, the IRS's stack of cards is a lot better for them than us. You know, I mean, if you're deciding you don't like tax law, you don't like to live in the United States, if you make less than $12,000 or thereabouts on a W-2, you don't have to file because you're below the standard deduction. But anyone else would require, I mean, I just did a guy yesterday, and he only made $30,000, but he owes $2 because he had no taxes come out. And if you're in the marketplace health insurance, there's penalties if you make too much money. So I think your best bet would be to file the taxes. If you refuse to pay them, you know, you may get away. I've got people that haven't paid taxes before and made it past the deadline of collection. So that is a possibility. But to me, I like to sleep at night, Dan.
Yeah.
I like to just know that my taxes are filed. No one's going to come knocking on my door. They can take your primary home. They can take the money right off your paycheck, 100% basically after taxes. It's really hard to pay your rent. So they've got a lot. They have a court in their own pocket. They can get a notice of levy, notice of lien instantly.
Yeah, don't mess with the IRS. So when that happened to me, Dr. Friday, when I was way younger, I became so paranoid that I started taking more money out of my taxes. And to the point where the IRS, I think I've told this story before, to the point where the IRS called me. I think they sent me a letter and I was supposed to call them, whatever it was. And I was stressing for days over this conversation that I was going to have with the IRS. It's like, oh no. You know what they told me? They said, you are taking way too much money out of your paycheck and you've got to normalize your deductions. And they actually worked with me because they said, you're sending us too much money. And it's stupid. I was actually very impressed with the IRS for doing that. And so, you know, I don't know if I would say that, you know, the IRS is, you know, out for blood and all that, because they did help me out. And every time I've tried to deal with the IRS, they've actually been very helpful. Because I think that they know, you know, people do make honest mistakes. Anyway, Dr. Friday, I know you're busy. It is tax crunch time, and you took some time out to call us here on Nashville's Morning News, and appreciate you chiming in.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
And don't forget, Saturdays from 2 to 3, right?
Right.
All right. So if you have questions about your taxes, you want to listen to a really smart lady about taxes and what you should do on your tax returns and all that, Dr. Friday, Saturdays 2 to 3 here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN 713. Wasn't that great, Joan? Dr. Friday, she apparently a trucker called her and said, hey, Dr. Friday, Mandis is trying to get a hold of you.
I love this.
I do. I do.
I love it.
Well, you know, she's so smart.
Yeah, she sure is. That's why we have her.
I needed Dr. Friday like, how old am I? I needed Dr. Friday like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
God, the mistakes I made in taxes, don't even get me started. All right, it is 7:15. We're going to go ahead and check traffic, and then we're going to get everybody caught up on what is going on in Iran, what is going on with NATO, and Donald Trump letting NATO have it. And we'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead on Super Talk.
For an accident investigation. I'm Christy O'Brien.
Mostly sunny today and a high of 78. All right, the latest on the ceasefire. If you're just joining us, I've been weaving in and out of this all morning long. President Trump posting on Truth Social last night, all U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of an already substantially degraded enemy will remain in place and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. If for any reason it is not, which is highly unlikely, then the shooting starts, he says, bigger and better and stronger than anyone has ever seen before. It was agreed a long time ago. And despite all of the fake rhetoric to the contrary, no nuclear weapons, the president says, and the Strait of Hormuz will be open and safe. In the meantime, our great military is loading up. They're resting, looking forward, actually, to its next conquest. America is back. That is what the president posted overnight on Truth Social. By the way, I don't know if you saw this, but and maybe I'll play the audio. It is rather ridiculous, but Justin Jones and some of the malcontents over there in the Tennessee state legislature. They are talking about how Donald Trump needs to be out of office, booted from office, using the 25th Amendment. It is just, if it's Justin Jones and Gloria Johnson, and I'm sure Justin Pearson is in there too. So you got all the usual suspects in Nashville screaming about Trump and the 25th Amendment. It's happening all over the country where you have these folks on the left that are doing this. I just saw a big headline from CNN that said that many people on the left are calling for Donald Trump to be removed via the 25th Amendment. Obviously, the statement that we would make is these same people were quiet about Joe Biden. I mean, that is obvious. And so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because it's really just a lame story. But the chances of Donald Trump being booted for the 25th Amendment, slim to none. Now, why is Donald Trump so angry? Let me bullet point a few things here. As I've been saying, since since day one of the ceasefire never really happened because the Iranians kept bombing the other Middle East nations even after it was announced. And so we honored the ceasefire, but Iran didn't. So there were also multiple lists that the media was reporting around the world. CNN had their list. The LA Times had their own list. You had Pakistan, who had a list. Apparently, Iran had a list as well. And so there's a lot of confusion as far as all of these different lists, and nobody knew which list was legit. I mean, that was something that I spoke about. I guess it was yesterday or the day before. But, bottom line is the media was reporting on the wrong list. I've got some video here, gentlemen. I've got some video. J.D. Vance was asked about this yesterday, and this is part of what he had to say about the multiple lists, the media's culpability in a lot of this confusion, and what is next.
So let me just say, given that you guys are going to ask about Iran, let me just say a few things, actually. So, number one, I think it's very important for the American media to be honest with the American people on this particular issue because it affects not just, the normal issues of public policy. It actually affects peace and war. And here's what I mean. So in the past couple of days, I've seen a lot of reporting from the American media about the 10-point proposal that the Iranians have made. Now, as I know, because I've been involved in this, there are 3 different 10-point proposals, at least, that I've seen floating around. The first 10-point proposal was something that was submitted, and we think, frankly, was probably written by ChatGPT, that was submitted to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. That immediately went in the garbage and was rejected. There was a second 10-point proposal that was much more reasonable, that was based on some back and forth between us, between the Pakistanis and Iranians. That is the 10-point proposal that the president was referencing in his truth yesterday. And then, frankly, I've seen a third 10-point proposal that's even more maximalist than the first 10-point proposal that's been floating around various social media channels. Now, here's what's interesting about all this, is that I've seen various organs, the New York Times, CNN, others, pick up and run the original 10-point proposal based on little more than a random Yahoo in Iran submitting it to public access television in the country of Iran, and then them saying that somehow represents the negotiating position of the government.
As I said, I love the fact that he said some random Yahoo in Iran. I think there's a lot of random Yahoos in Iran. A lot less, though, these days, thanks to Donald Trump. By the way, the president continues to call everyone out, also posting this. The failing New York Times and fake news CNN each reported a totally fake 10-point plan on the Iran negotiations, which was meant to discredit the people involved in the peace process, i.e. J.D. Vance, for example, and also Pakistan. By the way, there's reporting out there as well that, yes, Pakistan was a big country that was putting pressure on Iran, but China has also been involved behind the scenes as well, China doing all that they can to get Iran to the table. And so one of the other things that President Trump said in this Truth Social, all 10 points were a made-up hoax, evil losers. Make America great again. That is Donald Trump and his feeling on the matter. Caroline Leavitt also said this.
The Iranians originally put forward a 10-point plan that was fundamentally unserious, unacceptable, and completely discarded. It was literally thrown in the garbage by President Trump and his negotiating team. Many outlets in this room have falsely reported on that plan as being acceptable to the United States, and that is false.
Yeah, one thing about these lists, or some of these lists, is apparently one was put out by Iran, indicated was that they were going to allow Iran to hold on to and enrich their uranium, which was a deal breaker. And that's why we're in this mess in the first place. Also, Iran's list included the right to solely control the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Iran does have all this uranium. President Trump later posting on the socials that the U.S. and Iran would be working together to dig up that uranium. That is huge. He called it nuclear dust. So that's number one. And number two, the president pointed out that perhaps Iran and the U.S. could come to some kind of a working deal to collectively control the Strait of Hormuz. And so the president is trying to meet Iran halfway, and he's doing everything that he possibly can to try to move things forward. By the way, if you missed it earlier, I reported to you the Daily Mail is reporting that Iran is now asking for $1 million in cryptocurrency if a ship wants to get through the Strait of Hormuz. And also included in that was a map of the Strait of Hormuz. And they are saying that there's all kinds of mines that are laying in there. And if somebody wants to be able to get through, they'll tell you where the mines are so that you can get through the Strait of Hormuz. And they'll give you a map, but not until you give up the $1 million in cryptocurrency. So the Strait of Hormuz, that is the big question. Is it open? Is it closed? Sort of. If you've got $1 million in crypto, then they'll tell you where the mines are. Here's more from Caroline Levitt from yesterday.
With the president's deadline fast approaching and the United States military completely decimating Iran with each passing hour, the regime acknowledged reality to the negotiating team. They put forward a more reasonable and entirely different and condensed plan to the president and his team. President Trump and the team determined the new modified plan was a workable basis on which to negotiate and to align it with our own 15-point proposal. The president's red lines, namely the end of Iranian enrichment in Iran, have not changed. And the idea that President Trump would ever accept an Iranian wish list as a deal is completely absurd. The president will only make a deal that serves in the best interests of the United States of America. And he as a negotiating team will focus on this effort over the next 2 weeks.
All right, so negotiations begin. I should know this, and I shouldn't ask Joan. But hey, Joan, what time is it in Pakistan? Do these negotiations begin like us on Friday, Saturday? Trying to figure out when this is. Not that
well, right now it's 5:24 p.m. in Pakistan.
Okay.
So
on what day? On Friday?
On Thursday, April 9th.
Okay.
So
So whenever these things, Sam, can you chat GPT, when do the negotiations between Iran and the U.S. begin in Nashville time? See if ChatGPT can throw that back at us. All right, it is 7:24. Joan's got the news at 7:30. Joan.
Yes, coming up here, more fragile than ever. We've got the latest on that ceasefire deal with Iran. Also, the punishment for the Your Hot school board member. It's coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you, Joan. 7:25, Nashville's Morning News. Generator Supercenter. Listen, we have all learned this year thus far that, power outages, they happen. And you need to be ready. My friends at the Generator Supercenter, they can help you. If you want a backup home standby generator, basically what happens, the power goes down in your neighborhood. Well, guess what? If you've got one of these backup home standby generators from Generator Supercenter, the power goes out in your neighborhood, your power clicks right back on. Thanks to my friends at the Generator Supercenter. Now, they are the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Now, this is a huge investment in your home. It is also a huge investment in your family's safety. Now, they do feature expert installation. They do feature 24-hour monitoring. They're not going to leave you in the dark. And yeah, financing is also available when you go through the Generator Supercenter. People, after what happened in January, people all across Middle Tennessee are talking about getting a backup home standby generator. If you're one of them, you've got to call my friends at the Generator Supercenter. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 615-879-1952. 615-879-1952. Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com. That website one more time, Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and there could be a hitch in the ceasefire brokered with Iran this week. ABC's Ian Pannell is in Tel Aviv. He says Iran has closed down the Strait of Hormuz again.
Because of what was happening in Lebanon with escalating Israeli strikes, there'd been some question mark as to whether the Israeli operation in Lebanon was going to be part of this broader ceasefire. Israel said absolutely not. And Iran responded by saying, OK, we will stop the flow of ships through the Strait of Hormuz again.
Also from Iran, a nationwide internet shutdown is entering its 41st day now. The Iranian government turned off internet access on day one of the conflict. That was February 28th. The Washington County School Board held its emergency meeting yesterday over member Keith Irvin, who called a student member hot. Ultimately, though, the board voted only to censure him. There was a lot of heated testimony, and then he spoke about what he called his poor choice of words.
Could I have said it better? Yes, I could have. And I'll be more mindful of that going forward.
Now, he went on to say that he was referring to the work that she had done, that she was on a roll. It had nothing to do, he said, with her appearance. The censure is a formal condemnation, but it does not remove Irvin from office. And Independence High School in Williamson County placed on lockdown yesterday over a swatting incident. Someone had placed a fake call about a student in the school. Didn't take long to determine that it was a prank. Extra police were called in, and Principal Nikki Patton wrote an email to school families that the Department of Homeland Security is also involved in the investigation. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Think of Joan. Dan Mandis here at 7:32. The Wellness Institute of Nashville, they helped me when I came to town. They can help you as well. Listen, if you are riddled, like I was, if you're riddled with back and neck pain, sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness or weakness in the arms and legs, fingers or toes, they can help you with non-surgical spinal decompression at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. It is the best you're ever going to find, and right now, you're going to save a lot of money. You call them up, you mention my name, 47% off that non-surgical spinal decompression. That phone number is 615-246-5009. I'm a big fan of Dr. Mitchell. I'm a big fan of what he does. 615-246-5009. You can always find him online at painisbad.com. They've got all kinds of amazing technology at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. So they've got robotic lasers, anti-gravity machines, cryo machines, stem cell stimulation machines, all at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and all there to help you and your back and neck pain, among many other things. Check them out today, painisbad.com. That is painisbad.com. That phone number one more time. Remember, 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression, 615-246-5009. Hey, it's Dan Mandis. If you're looking for TRT that is flexible enough for your lifestyle, why don't you head on over to the Low T Center? Now, they are the nation's #1 name in TRT. Choose testosterone shots, pills, or enclomiphene that boost testosterone without affecting fertility. Now, you can get your treatment in the clinic or have your testosterone shipped right to your door. You can even choose self-pay or insurance coverage for the payment option that works best for you. And right now, Low T Center is offering new treatment options, including PT-141, an FDA-approved libido-boosting peptide, new antioxidants, GLP-1 pills, and a whole lot more. So boost your energy, lose weight, and increase your confidence with the Low T Center. Now, if you'd like to explore treatments that work with your lifestyle and your budget, book your free T-test right now at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. That website, one more time, it could change your life. Fixmylowt.com.
Wow, this has been here for a while. Murfreesboro Pike is still closed off this morning between Old Hickory Boulevard and Laverne Couchville Pike. There was a serious crash there and now an investigation. Jolton, eastbound 24 at the Harper Road overpass, an accident. Mount Juliet on 40 West at Mount Juliet Road, an accident. And there's another one in Laverne on 24. It's the westbound lanes past Old Hickory Boulevard, south exit 62. The right lane is blocked off by that. 24 West in Clarksville. Watch for an accident at Rossview Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:38, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends, and hope you are doing well. You know what we were always told in school, Joan Jones, is that, what was it? The only dumb question is the one not asked.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
So Valerie says this on the Super Text line. Now, this proves that I read almost every single one. Almost. Valerie says, dumb question. With all the people who are willing to leak info, why wouldn't someone or the allies come together, pool their ransom money to pay for the bomb map to navigate the Strait of Hormuz and circumvent the Iranian mines? I mean, why wouldn't somebody do that? That seems smart, right? Unless they're like moving the mines around, which, I mean, maybe they could do.
They'll hit them with drones.
Or hit them with drones. That's exactly. Look at Ryan.
Yeah.
It's like day one, and he's already given great input. Thank you, Ryan. Work on those levels. Totally kidding. You see what I do? I'm just joking.
Such a President Trump thing to do.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Passive-aggressive little stinker you.
Yeah, I guess so. The only thing missing out of that is it's not really passive-aggressive, Joan. I'm really just more blatantly aggressive. I'm totally kidding. The hot guy. He only got a censure.
He only got a censure.
Is he paid for that gig? I wonder.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Let's see. Washington County School Board members.
Somebody said in the Super Text line that this, you know what we ought to do? We ought to try to get this guy on the show. They are paid, Sam?
I think that would be wonderful.
You take the phones off hold, Ryan. This never works. Well, actually, it did work with Dr. Friday.
They are paid.
So, what's this guy's name?
Irvin. Keith Irvin.
Okay, Keith Irvin. Which, by the way, when you first read this, I thought, Keith Urban? The country star?
No.
Is on a school board?
No.
If Keith Irvin happens to be listening, call up. We'd like to talk to you. Because you know what? This is a safe space, right? Call up. We would love to, talk about everything that happened. Because, Joan came out on your side, Keith, yesterday, as a matter of fact.
I did.
And so I'm just curious. I'm really curious. Somebody, by the way, Keith, the phone number is 615-737-9986. That's the phone number. He's not going to call, but I think it'd be a hoot if he did. So somebody texted in and said that this guy is friends with the parents. Now, of the 15-year-old girl. I don't know if that's true or not. But maybe that is true.
It would go to a familiarity that we don't understand just based on watching this video.
Well, and here's the thing, is that as a talk show host, I have stuck my both feet in my mouth many times, right? I mean, it's just, I was doing Johnny B's podcast the other day, Circling the Drain.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this, where it's like as a talk show host, you're flying without a net, man.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you say something and then it's like, oh, God, can we dump that? You know what I mean? So I haven't done that to you yet, Sam, but I will, no doubt. And so, obviously there are situations where we say things and we just goof up. So I think for this guy, I mean, he probably pled his case to the rest of the board, and he agreed to take a censure as long as they didn't take him off the board.
He did have a statement that he read, and I have the text of that statement. And in it, he said, obviously, I've seen the clip, and I get it. If that's all you're seeing, I understand why people are reacting the way they are, but that's not the full conversation, not even close. Last week at the board meeting, I wanted to congratulate a student who did a great job sharing thoughts with all. The student made all of us proud during that meeting. She was asking good questions. She was engaged. She handled herself well, especially right before the clip in the conversation with the superintendent on hot topics. She fired off a lot of questions, valid points. When I mentioned she was hot, I meant she was on a roll. It was nothing to do with her appearance. As a lifetime supporter of Crockett High School, which is where the girl goes, I was especially proud to learn that's where she went to school.
Can I also say this?
And I'm not saying that that's justification, but that rings true.
Can I also say this? Yeah. I think a person's history and demeanor also should play into things here. Like, if this dude doesn't have a history of being a creeper, then you just maybe you chalk it up to, all right, the guy made a mistake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I thought he was creepy as all get out, and if that's his excuse, and people are saying that if you watch the whole tape, that this girl did come in hot. I don't know how old this guy is, but like, I'm the guy that would screw up like modern vernacular, right? So I would have said, well, she's coming in hot. Like, that's the saying. You're coming in hot, not you're hot. But I can see somebody like me screwing it up and saying she's hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So to that end, to the end of if this guy isn't proven to have been a creeper in the past, there's this. NBC, they have a television station called WCYB. I don't know where that is. Said that back in 2009, he had made a lewd juvenile gesture of a sexual nature during a classroom discussion at David Crockett, the high school, in front of students and teachers. Now, that's not explained here at all.
What was
That's not explained here.
Read that again.
Back in 2009.
Yeah.
Records obtained by NBC station WCYB show that he had made a lewd juvenile gesture of a sexual nature during a classroom discussion at David Crockett in front of students and teachers. Now, they're using the word juvenile, and I don't like that they're doing that, because what they mean is that it was, like a kid thing to do, like a teenager kind of thing to do. Yeah. According to the records, during that incident, records show that Irvin went to David Crockett classroom unannounced. At some point during a classroom discussion, he made a gesture of a sexual nature. Another teacher alleged that Irvin had also used profanity in front of the students and that Irvin had harassed him multiple times.
Right.
Irvin admitted to making the gesture and using profanity, but claims that he didn't harass anyone. This is all, by the way, from WSMV4 on their website. He said he guessed he was trying to be 18 again. He was censured at that time as well. And he was banned from school property outside of public events or occasions when he would be joined by senior school system administrators.
So that was in 2009.
Correct.
All right. That is, was that, how many, is that, 15 years ago? I can't do math.
I don't do math.
Yeah, all right. 3077. Can I say this, Joan? Of all the topics we talk about, this one is
really
so controversial. So 3077 says, well, Dan, yesterday you and Sam said the tone was like a guy in the locker room. So which is it? No, I said that, and I agree.
Wow.
It does sound like a guy in a locker room. And so, whatever.
If my quarterback was on fire, I'd, smack him on the butt and go, hey, man, you're hot.
And this is what 3042 said. Yeah, but the news station is not releasing what was said. So there you go. So that gesture They're not saying what it was. They're not saying what what he was saying that was.
Joe, listen to this. Joan is correct in that Irvin had past behavior. I saw this reported on Chattanooga News this morning. Wow. All right. Yeah, I still think that it was a creepy thing. It came off as creepy. Do I believe his story? Joan, do you believe his story? Do you buy his story?
I don't.
As a guy, I'm going to say this. As a guy who has a long history of saying things that are so awkward and stupid, I can recognize that these things happen. I don't know if I buy his story. I can see how it could happen. I just don't know if I buy it. Joan?
Hey,
Joan, this might be one of those days where you pull a Ken Weaver and say, I just do the news, boys.
You think I should? Because I'm not upset about this guy. I'm just not upset about it. It doesn't make me get angry. It just doesn't. He's a good old boy. And that doesn't mean he's dangerous.
Every pedophile has a first victim, Joan.
That's what one of the callers said.
I know.
My goodness. Ryan reacted
that was
to that.
On the super
His poor
text
ears.
line. Oh, my goodness gracious. People are passionate about this.
Yeah. Joan, would it be okay if it were her? Would it be okay if it were your 15-year-old daughter? If I know the guy and I know, I don't know. It doesn't feel that creepy to me. It just feels like he's a good old boy. He's, yeah, you got it, girl.
If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, I'd have a pocket full of trail mix.
All right, so here's what's funny, though. A new angle to this from the super text line.
Okay.
Mandis, you're missing the bigger point. Is the girl really hot? Now that's what people are asking. I'm not going to chime in on that. I don't know if she's, I don't know.
She was there last night, by the way.
Okay, well, 15 years old, I don't comment on 15-year-olds and their looks.
Wow, the story made Greg Gutfeld's show last night.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine this poor guy? I mean, okay. I'm going to say it this way. If this guy truly didn't mean any harm, and he truly pulled a Mandis and just said the wrong thing, this poor guy. If he truly meant no harm, this poor guy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Now, if he really is a creeper, and the other thing that he did back in 2009, I'm just, okay, that was a long time ago. That sounds more intentional. I have a feeling I know what he did. Can I just say, I have a feeling I know what he did.
Okay.
I'm not going to, do you think, in reading that description, Joan, do you know what he did? Sam, do you know what he did? Back in 2009? Oh, Sam. Of all the three of us. All right. I'm not going to say it because, number one, I don't want to be on camera doing what he did.
Oh, you mean back in 2009?
Ryan, do you know what he did in 2009? Read it again, Joan, one more time. People, do you know what he did in 2009?
I think so.
Read it again.
Now I've lost it. But
okay, whatever.
No, here we go. According to the records, Irvin got in trouble with the board in 2009 after he made a lewd juvenile gesture of a sexual nature. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, we're going to move on.
Wait, but which one? Because there's several.
And we're going to move on. It's 7:51, Super Talk 99.7, WTN. Joan's got the news coming up at 8. Joan.
We've got the latest on whether the ceasefire is in trouble. Also, we'll tell you why a pro golfer got kicked out of the Masters tournament already. It just got started today. Those stories and more at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:56. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, checking out the folks on the YouTube chat this morning.
Yeah, I was just checking them out too.
I love these people. They are so incredibly random. So one of my favorites, though, was because you look back and you see what people are saying throughout the entire show. One person is like, oh, Dr. Friday will never call in.
Oh, yes, she will.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, she didn't. We called her.
Well, okay, technically, but she said she was trying to call in, and then she texted on the super text line.
Yeah, so take that, Sam.
Yeah, Sam, what is wrong? Why are you going to be contrarian all day? Hey, Ryan, can you start full-time tomorrow?
Ooh, what now?
I'm sure that'll go over well for you.
Anyway, so I love that. Actually, see now Dr. Friday's kind of hosed because now I've got her cell phone number and I've put her in my contacts. So Dr. Friday, the show starts at 5. Anyway, Turd Ferguson, our friend Turd Ferguson.
Yeah.
Again, just random 101, asking, does In-N-Out sell sweatshirts? Because I've been wearing my In-N-Out sweatshirt, and yes, indeed, Turd Ferguson. In-N-Out does sell sweatshirts. Start saving now because they're expensive. Let's see here. Other people agree with me when I said, the IRS, I got to say this, the IRS, when I've dealt with the IRS, they've actually been pretty cool to deal with. Like, I'm just going to tell you, like, I have had in my lifetime some monumental tax problems. And every time I've dealt with the IRS, they've been very cool, and they've worked out payment plans. Joan, do you know that at one point in my life, I had to pay off a tax bill. It took me 2 years.
Wow.
To pay off that tax bill.
What the heck? What'd you do? I don't think I should know.
You don't want to know, man.
You didn't
don't
pay
want
your
to know.
taxes, and that's enough.
No, you know what? Basically, my habit of working many jobs has screwed me over the years. Because and people who work additional jobs know this. So you make more money with all of these different jobs, but you're not taking into account the fact that you're making more money, but you're not adjusting the amount of money that is being taken out of your taxes.
Gotcha.
That's the only way that I can explain it.
Yeah.
And so, I was young and stupid. Now I'm old and stupid, and I'm still working multiple jobs, and I'm still probably not having enough money taken out. However, what I am doing is I am putting money aside for my taxes so that when the tax bill comes, I've got the money right over here. I've been expecting this.
There you go.
Turd Ferguson, by the way, as well says, you know what? The IRS, when I had to deal with the IRS, they were great. And he says it's probably because I'm such a nice guy. Perhaps that is why you were, why they helped you out, Turd, is because you are a nice guy. So anyway, that is part of what's going on. And thank you to the people on the chat line for hanging out with us on YouTube, watching us on YouTube. Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, 997WTN.com. By the way, you can watch the show anytime, day or night, if you missed the 5 o'clock hour. Today, the 5 o'clock hour, it was a humdinger. And Joan, you know that in just a scant few moments, we're going to go ahead and debut a brand new bit here on Super Talk 99.7 and Nashville's Morning News with Chris Hand. So look for that coming up at 8:35. Got a lot more straight ahead, including Donald Trump. And back to business. Donald Trump and his harsh words for NATO and what is next. It's all coming up on WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And is the ceasefire in trouble? Well, there are some hiccups. The Strait of Hormuz is not open this morning. Iran claims that Israel is violating the terms. And then what President Trump said about Iran's uranium.
The Iranians have agreed to work with the Americans to allow an operation inside of Iran to dig up and get rid of the enriched uranium. And so there's still a major disconnect there. And today there was a major statement from the atomic chief in Iran who said the enemy, quote, won't succeed in restricting Iran's enrichment program. And again, at this point, the Iranians do not look serious in their efforts to reach an agreement with the United States. And so this weekend will be incredibly consequential. And if the Iranians continue to go back on these commitments that they made to the Americans as it relates to enriched uranium and also access in the Strait of Hormuz, we are likely looking at a situation where the region returns to war.
That is Trey Yingst at Fox News. Metro Water has rejected a one-time $25 water bill credit for its customers tied to January's ice storm. Some of those customers had claimed that their water bills were hundreds of dollars higher because they opened their faucets to let the water drip at the company's urging. Councilmember Courtney Johnston says that makes sense to her.
When Metro Water Services says to drip your faucets, that is good advice so that you don't have a burst pipe that would cause thousands of dollars in damage.
Johnston on the Matt Murphy Show yesterday. MTSU is growing. Officials breaking ground on a $56 million student residence hall yesterday.
This will be a 161,000 square foot structure. It will have more than 500 beds with single or double rooms and apartments. It will be located at the existing Womack Lane housing site.
Channel 4's Danielle Ledbetter. Now completion is expected next summer. And the Masters tournament begins in Augusta, Georgia today. The event's notorious for its rules. No running, no cameras, no flags, and definitely no cell phones. And the rules just aren't just for the patrons. By the way, they're not called customers, they're called patrons. Golfer Mark Calcavecchia was removed from Augusta National Golf Course yesterday by security for using his phone. He had been scrubbed from the tournament. Last year, Arizona State University men's golf coach Matt Thurmond was also removed because he was wearing shorts on the course. That's another no-no. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Half hour before the opening bell, and the Dow futures are down 166 points. You know, the Dow gained 1,325 points yesterday. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got some trouble this morning on 24. It's on the eastbound side in Joelton. There is an accident and investigation going on at the Harper Road overpass. It's really slow there, too. Franklin on I-840, there is a crash in the right lane just before I-65. Smyrna, 24 west before Sam Ridley Parkway, the crash in the two left lanes. And then in Laverne, you've got a crash 24 west at Old Hickory Boulevard. That one is off to the right shoulder. Mount Juliet, 40 west at the off-ramp to Mount Juliet Road. The off-ramp is partially blocked off by a crash. And in Whispering Hills, Nolensville Pike at Cotton Lane, another crash scene there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. WTN Super Text line is open. 615-737-9986. 615-737-WWTN. Joan, I heard you playing some audio from Trey Yingst. And I would agree with Trey Yingst when he basically said, and Joan, if I'm mischaracterizing what he said, Trey Yingst, by the way, the reporter based in Israel for Fox News, and he basically said, yeah, Iran doesn't really seem to be behaving like they want to participate in this ceasefire. And that's what it seems like to me, because what they're doing is they are protesting every single red line that the President Trump has. For example, they basically are saying, well, no, we reserve our right to manufacture nuclear weapons. I've been going over this for days now, well, months now, where, you look at Iran and how quickly could they go from 60 to 90% uranium enrichment. And somebody said it's like, I think this was on CNN. Somebody said they're like 9 to 15 days away from going from 60 to 90% uranium enrichment, which, by the way, is why time was of the essence. That's number one. Number two, the issue with the Strait of Hormuz, which we've also been talking about this morning, where, Donald Trump is saying that has got to be open, and they've closed it. Now, part of the issue, obviously, is that you have Israel that has been attacking Lebanon. Now, you know that there's been a long-standing conflict between Israel and Lebanon, because basically Lebanon is Iran. Iran pays Hezbollah in Lebanon to attack Israel because their borders are like right next to each other. So they share a border. So, Lebanon has been attacking Israel for, long as I can remember, and Israel has been returning fire. Now, Israel yesterday, as all of this was going on, that was also, we've been talking all day about, last couple of days, about the fact that there are so many different lists that are out there, the negotiating points. And so one of the things that people are saying about one of the lists, and it was Iran's list, where they wanted Hezbollah in Lebanon to just, have free reign and to do whatever they wanted to do, including, if I'm going to interpret it correctly, attack Israel. And remember, you've got Iran, who funds not only Hezbollah, but they also fund Hamas. We all know what Hamas did to Israel a couple of years ago, killing 1,200 people. But yesterday, this is my point, as all of this is going on, as you have Iran, and Iran is saying, well, our proxies, our regional partners in the Middle East, they also need to have a guarantee that they will not be attacked, right? So you had Israel come out and say, no, we don't agree with that part of the agreement. Lebanon and Hezbollah are not part of that don't attack agreement. And so all of this confusion, all of this anger, all of this ire is going on. And Donald Trump is trying to keep this very tenuous ceasefire in place. And then what does Israel do? But they bomb the living crap out of Hezbollah and Lebanon. So I would love to know if Donald Trump actually had a reaction to that, because I think that Trump, he's probably sort of like, I wish you could have just, given me a couple of days. Benjamin Netanyahu, could you have given me a couple of days to, just work a few things out before you did what you did, which was, really put an exclamation point on your disagreement with Iran that Lebanon is part of the peace agreement. But, if I'm Benjamin Netanyahu, I'm like, you know what, Lebanon and Hezbollah, they are always bombing Israel. And so Israel does have a right to defend itself. So that's the kind of day that Donald Trump had yesterday. And now, big conversation about what is going on with the U.S. and NATO. By the way, breaking news, although I don't know why this is breaking news, J.D. Vance, Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner will be taking part in the talks with Iran in Pakistan. So there is that. Big headline in the Daily Mail about what is going to happen with Donald Trump, the United States, and NATO. Here's the headline. Trump eyes ultimate revenge on NATO allies who failed to support Iran war as concern grows amid tenuous peace plan. Look at that, Joan. Nobody else was using my word of tenuous to describe the peace plan. The Daily Mail just used my word.
They've probably been listening.
You know that's true.
Yeah. They're going to call you and ask you, if they can, put your picture below the use of that word.
It's exact. You know what the Daily Mail just said to me? That I'm hot. Moving right along.
With 2 T's or just one?
Just one.
Yeah.
And it's not even a capital T. It's like a little t.
Right.
Anyway, so Daily Mail is now saying that Trump is plotting the ultimate revenge. Guys, I got some video here. This is yesterday at the White House press briefing. Listen.
And on NATO, can you tell me, is the United States still considering withdrawing from NATO? Is that still a possibility?
It's something the president has discussed, and I think it's something the president will be discussing in a couple of hours with Secretary General Ruta, and perhaps you'll hear directly from the president following that meeting later this afternoon. Thank you, everyone.
And off she goes. Yeah, that was a very brief statement on the future of NATO. So President Trump going on Truth Social last night, NATO wasn't there when we needed them, and they won't be there if we needed them again. Remember Greenland, that big, poorly run piece of ice, is what President Donald J. Trump said. And again, he's right. Can I just say, I'm not a big fan of NATO. I get what their purpose is, but I'm not a big fan of it. Mark Rutte, by the way, the president of NATO, he appeared with Jake Tapper yesterday, and he met with Donald Trump for, I don't know, Joan, if you have the exact time, but it was a couple of hours where the president of NATO and Donald Trump met, and clearly President Trump laid into him. And Donald Trump, it seems to me, is deciding whether or not to stay with NATO.
Isn't this the daddy guy? Isn't he the one that called President Trump daddy?
What did he say? I forget exactly what he said, but it was really funny and awkward at the same time, where he said basically, what did he say? Like Trump is NATO's daddy or something like that? He said something bizarre like that.
Yeah.
Like Mark Rutte, he's actually a fan of Donald Trump.
Yes.
But
he said,
I'm also smart enough to know that he's kissing Trump's tail because Trump and the United States pay a boatload of money into NATO. So there might be that part where he's terrified that they're going to lose the military might, because that's part of where I'm going, is Donald Trump is talking about not only not paying any dues to NATO, but also removing our military support from NATO. That would be a huge blow, Joan, to NATO.
Sure would. NATO wouldn't be able to exist.
No.
NATO wouldn't be able to exist not just without our money, but without our presence, because we're the only strong country in the whole organization.
Well, and that was indicated by their response to President Trump's ask for help with the Strait of Hormuz and Iran. So this is what Mark Rutte had to say, the president of NATO. He says he understands, he was on with Jake Tapper, he understands how angry the president is about NATO and how their country simply didn't help in the U.S. trying to denuke Iran.
Do you agree that NATO countries, some of them were tested and failed?
Some of them, yes, but a large majority of European countries, and that's what we discussed today, have done what they promised before in a case like this, because they know that when it comes to NATO, it's there to protect the United States, because the US needs a secure Atlantic and a secure Arctic and a secure Europe to stay safe here, the US mainland. But it is also there to make sure that, of course, Europe is safe, and to be this platform of power projection for the United States. So what the US did with Iran, they could do because so many European countries lived up to those commitments. Not all of them. And I totally understand his disappointment about that. But it is therefore a nuanced picture. It is not just saying it is black or white.
So that is, again, Mark Rutte, and he is defending NATO. Tapper asked a question, and it's actually a very good question. The question was about whether or not America is safer now than it used to be pre-America going into Iran. I've got that answer for you coming up next. It is 8:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Jolton. Hey, I've got to head to class, so be on time helping him.
Okay.
Smyrna, 24 westbound before San Ridley Parkway. There's an accident blocking the 2 left lanes. And Franklin, 840 westbound, a crash before 65, right lane closed. I'm Christy O'Brien.
Far as your weather goes today, mostly sunny and a high of 78. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan, I think it's a legit question. Are we safer now here in America than we used to be? What's that? Oh, sorry. Oh, she's not in the booth. Okay, fine. That's okay. I can talk to myself. I do every day. Are we safer now than we were before America went into Iran? I'm going to say yes, we are. Because right now we do have an Iran that is weakened. And they've lost a lot of missiles. They've lost a lot of military. They are on their heels. They have lost, most of their Navy is at the bottom of the sea. Most of their planes have been destroyed as well. This is what, as Jay Tapper asked the question, this is what Mark Rutte said about whether or not the world is safer pre-America going into Iran.
Is the world safer today than it was before the war was started?
Absolutely. Because, and this is thanks to President Trump's leadership, degrading these capabilities is really very important for your and my safety here in the U.S., in Europe, in the Middle East.
Is the world safer today than it was before the war was started?
Absolutely. Because, and this is thanks to President Trump's leadership, degrading these capabilities is really very important for your and my safety here in the U.S., in Europe, in the Middle East.
Is the world safer today than it was before the war?
All right, so that is Jake Tapper and also Mark Rutte. And I think Rutte is trying to save some face here and also save the money that America puts into NATO. Remember, we're the ones that pay the bulk of NATO's budget, 16%. That's around $700 million a year. We also support NATO through our military, which basically is the major military apparatus that defends those NATO countries. So you take that into account, that is another, wait for it, $980 billion. And so, yeah, if I were Mark Rutte, president of NATO, leader of NATO, I'd be crapping Twinkies too. Now, countries are supposed to put in 2% of their GDP into NATO. We put in 3.4%. Do you know who the country is the one country that puts in more money than America does into NATO? Can anybody guess? Poland. Poland puts in 4%, and because obviously Russia is a big threat to Poland, and there's some proximity there that would have Poland worried. So Poland does indeed put in 4%. You know who doesn't put in what they're supposed to be putting in? I kid you not. The same countries that refuse to help or support Donald Trump in the war with Iran and opening up the Strait of Hormuz. I kid you not. Germany, they criticize the war. They refuse to get involved. They also pay under 2% to NATO. Although with Germany, they did allow the U.S. to use military bases. But isn't it just ironic that you've got Germany? Here's the countries. You got Germany, France, Spain, Italy. All paid under 2%, all pay under 2% in NATO, and they also criticized or refused to help America. France refusing to help, very little support. France under 2% into NATO. Spain restricted airspace access for U.S. forces. We had to fly around Spain. Italy denied use of bases and airspace, and all of those weasels under 2%. That's some kind of BS right there. Now, apparently President Trump is considering removing our troops from NATO countries. As a result, this is from the Daily Mail. as a result of his frustration with NATO, administration officials telling the Wall Street Journal that Trump may move troops stationed in NATO countries that refuse to help him wage a military campaign against Iran. No U.S. troops for you. The Washington Post noted that Ruta appeared to have talked Trump out of any plan to end the U.S. involvement in NATO. We'll have to see what happens. And by the way, just so you know that I know, Congress passed legislation that prevents any U.S. president from pulling out of NATO without its approval. By the way, fun fact, you know who championed that? Marco Rubio, when he was still in the Senate. Now, why did Congress do that? Because in Donald Trump's administration, the first term, he was always talking about pulling out of NATO. But then ultimately, what happened when Donald Trump was talking about pulling out of NATO? Eventually, ultimately, we stayed in and NATO became stronger because of Donald Trump. But there were enough people, including Republicans like Marco Rubio, that were so spooked by what the president talked about and spooked of what Donald Trump wanted to do that they said, okay, so if a president wants to do this, they've got to go through Congress. And so that is, a conversation for another day. It is 8:23. Joan's got the news at 8:30. Joan.
Yeah, we've got the latest.
That's okay. Joan, go ahead. Minor train wreck.
We've got the latest threats to the Mideast ceasefire and whether or not that'll happen. Also, Murfreesboro police searching for a couple of people who robbed an armored truck. Those stories at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you, Joan. At 8:23, Loan Pronto. Credit card interest rates are now over 29%. You know, most people are only making the minimum payments, so they're really getting nowhere in trying to pay down those credit cards. It's Stan Mandis here. Now, here's what many homeowners simply don't realize. Using that equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash. Now, with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit cards. You can pay off your existing HELOC as well and your car loans or get money for that home improvement project. Now, one client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 every single month. And by the way, here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone. Now, with zero out of pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, and no long drawn out bank process. And by the way, no touching your first mortgage. You've got to call my friends at Loan Pronto. By the way, rates right now at 3-year lows. So you got to act right now. Go to loanpronto.com and see how much money you can get in about 60 seconds. That's right. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call them at 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780. Find them online anytime. It is loanpronto.com. That's loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, and MLSconsumeraccess.org.
For over 40 years, our family's been keeping.
$8:25, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want to tell you about my friends at Stoltzco. Dan Mandis here. Now, Stoltzco is a great Tennessee company. They do continue to grow and expand. Now, you know what Stoltzco does, right? They build those pole barns that I obsess over. Now, these pole barns, they can serve as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building, even barndominiums. You can live in these pole barns, and yeah, they are called barndominiums. And at Stoltzco, they are new and improved. They can offer you turnkey options at Stoltzco. Now, what that means is that they handle the design, the construction, and the amazing finishing touches. You turn the key and you are home at Stoltzco. They also, by the way, just so you know, Stoltzco also offers storm shelters to keep you and your family safe. Now, your new pole barn from Stoltzco, again, it can be used for anything. So if you've got some land that needs a building for whatever you want, Call my friends at Stoltzko. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. That phone number, 615-622-5992, 615-622-5992. You can also find them on Instagram and Facebook to see examples of their incredible work. Stoltzo. I should say Stoltzco. It is stoltzco.com. $8:29, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. WTN Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. All right, so Joan, we're coming to you for news, but we're going to debut that brand new non-stolen segment here with Chris Hand coming up just momentarily.
Okay.
So
is he aware of our new bit?
no.
Okay.
Unless somebody told him.
No, nobody told him. Mm-mm.
Joan
Nope.
Jones.
I did not tell him.
Joan Jones.
I did
Oh
not
my
tell
God.
him.
I cannot believe you betrayed me like
Did
this.
I tell you about the new bit we're doing? Yes. Oh my gosh. No, he's not serious. He's just not serious.
All right, Joan. I see how it is. Joan Jones with news right now on WTN. Go ahead and just start talking, Joan. Apparently, we're having some computer problems.
There we go.
There you go. Okay.
Okay. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. So, new threats to the Middle East ceasefire, and Iran apparently has been closing the Strait of Hormuz to traffic once again. Here's ABC's Olivia Rubin on that.
Iran now balking at Trump's main request, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, because they say the Trump administration reversed course on a key element of the plan for Israel to stop bombing Lebanon. But the U.S. saying that was never part of the deal at all.
Also new this morning, Iran's neighbors in the Gulf region say they have not been seeing any missiles or drones coming by their way in the past 24 hours. A job site accident in East Nashville yesterday. Here's Channel 4's Amber Giant.
Police say 42-year-old Stephen Matson is a construction worker who was killed Wednesday morning. According to police, another worker was moving lumber up the hill when his forklift suddenly powered off and began to roll backward down the hill into the path of Matson, who was operating an excavator. As Matson tried to escape, he was pinned between the excavator and the forklift and did not survive.
Metro Police say they are still investigating. Murfreesboro Police searching for two people who robbed an armored truck yesterday. Happened at a credit union on West Clark Boulevard. Here's Channel 4's Danielle Ledbetter.
Police say two people with guns drove up in a Nissan Pathfinder. They went up to an armored truck at the ATM, assaulted the guard, and stole cash. Officers later spotted their car and chased them on I-40.
And they got off at I-840 towards Smyrna, but that's where police lost track of them. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. And we have begun trading here. The Dow Jones Industrial starting off 201 points lower. The NASDAQ, however, is up 6 points. We've got the S&P 500 index falling 9 at the start. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
All right, so what we want to do, pot all that down. Just pot all that down. All right, so Sam had, it's just so folks know, Sam had to leave for school, and we got somebody training in here all by himself, but it's okay. So just pot everything down. I'm going to do my live spot. There you go. Okay. 8:32, Nashville's Morning News, DT McCall's. Now, it is that time of year, lawn mowing season, and DT McCall's, they are here to make it easy with great prices on the best in mowers, specifically Cub Cadet lawnmowers. Now, they're the best in the business, right? Now, every year, DT McCall's, they do have these great sales on Cub Cadet lawnmowers. This year, of course, is no exception. And right now, they're having the sale at their Lebanon location. You can save up to $1,000 on some of these lawnmowers at DT McCall's, the great Cub Cadet mowers. Now, whether you need a ride-on mower or a push-behind, ride-on mower for those larger areas, push-behinds for the smaller ones. But at DT McCall's, they have great deals on a variety of Cub Cadet mowers. 0% interest financing for 24 months is available for some models as well. Find out all the details, but don't wait. Now, this sale is going on right now through April 11th, so tick-tock. The clock is ticking. You want to get a great mower at a great price, go to DT McCall's and their Lebanon location. Always looking out for you with their annual Ultimate Cub Cadet Lawnmower Sale event going on right now at their Lebanon location. Details, as always, dtmccalls.com.
A crash investigation on 24 eastbound. It's got traffic slow around the New Hope Road area. Franklin, I-840, the westbound lanes before I-65. A crash takes out the right shoulder. Got a crash in the left lane of 24 westbound before Sam Ridley Parkway this morning. Charlotte, Pike, and West Nashville slow around an accident at White Bridge Road. And just one more this morning, South Nashville, Fairfield Avenue at Hermitage Avenue. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.837 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open. Very active today. Chris Hand is here, of course. Time for the crisscross handoff.
What's up?
Joan Jones is here. Is his mic on?
It will be. Don't you worry.
Is it on yet?
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, very good.
You
know what just happened? My headphones were down.
Oh, this guy.
I suck so bad. All right. You were saying off the air. By the way, Joan Jones is here too. Hello, Joan.
Hello.
So you were talking off the air about Keir Starmer?
Yeah. Have you seen him yesterday?
No.
He was taking credit for the Strait being reopened.
Oh, I saw that.
And
No way.
I keep doing this with these European allies. It's the chicken and the bread. Remember the story, the kids' stories?
No.
They would go around and they'd ask all the animals. They said, "Mr. Goose, will you help me make some bread?" And Mr. Goose says, "No, I'm not going to help you make bread." They go over. They say, "Mr. Cow, would you help me make some bread?" And Mr. Cow's like, "I'm not helping you make bread, you stupid chicken." And then they say, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, would you help us make some bread?" And everybody says, "No, we're not helping make bread." But as soon as the bread's made, everybody wants a piece of the bread.
Mm-hmm.
We're not giving out any bread. Also, the Strait's closed. So that's good.
Yeah, has Trump responded to that? Has the president responded to, that's like stolen valor.
It feels like stolen
is
valor.
what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Keir Starmer, he is, and I don't know if you heard my whole bit on NATO, I think you were walking in. But ironic, isn't it, that the nations that pay under that 2% into NATO are the ones that are refusing to help America.
Yeah.
So it's just, and by the way, somebody a great point, which is, those nations are also overrun with Muslims.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the overrun with Muslims, this virtue signaling politician, Keir Starmer, posted a tweet about how Kanye West is not welcome in England, and he can't believe that he was headlining Wireless, which is some festival that they have out there, because of all of his rampant anti-Semitism. And I want to be like, hey, bud, all those refugees are also rampant anti-Semites. Maybe the raping of the young girls doesn't bother you, but the anti-Semitism will make you get out of your seat.
What is it about that they just don't understand? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. They're like liberals, though. He posted a tweet, virtue signaling. I can't have Kanye West here. That's what they do.
Yeah. And they refuse to acknowledge that they have invited an enemy, they've allowed an enemy into their nation, and by the millions, and the people of these nations, Germany is certainly one of them, the UK, France, and all that. They're like, what have you done to our culture? It's literally gone.
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of gone, you know what this is?
Yes.
What is it?
Walking Dead.
No, Chris. Joan, why does nobody understand this? This is not the theme to The Walking Dead.
I think it is.
It is the theme to the Woking Dead.
Oh.
I got a new bit, and it's so stupid.
Oh.
So.
Were you listening to other markets trying to come up with this one?
I hate all of you.
I know.
Joan is in there applauding.
I know Murphy and Chad don't do this one.
No, they don't. The Woking Dead. And no, I didn't. I made this up all by myself.
All right.
And so basically what this is going to be is highlighting the woke in our nation who are so incredibly brain dead that these are the kind of people that we say, you know, do you hear yourself? And so I've got one here. This is a woman, got some video here. This is a woman who says that she will no longer date white men.
Friendly reminder, as a white American woman, I will no longer be dating white men. I'm looking for anything other than a white man.
Sorry,
Okay?
I had to roll over and look at the picture. I do believe that white men had already stepped away before she made this determination.
See, that's what Sam and I did earlier. It's like, you know what, girlfriend, not a problem. None of us have said that she is hot.
The white delegation does not object.
That's exactly right. So that is example one of the Woking Dead. But wait, there's more. There is a crazy woman, and I hope if you folks are not watching on Super Talk TV, I did tweet this out, but there is a woman, and she doxed her parents. She doxed her parents because her parents are Trump supporters.
Oh, my gosh.
And supporters of ICE. Now,
you got to roll over and look at this one, too.
And this is how you know the left is just a bunch of commies, because this is exactly what happened in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, if you look at her, she's got purple hair with a black stripe going down the middle of her very short-cut purple hair.
Oh, my gosh.
Tats all over the place. She's got like a lopsided septum ring, and she's got
hand grenade shrapnel.
Hand grenade shrapnel. Thank you, Ryan. Hand grenade shrapnel around her mouth. And
does she have another video about she's confused why she can't get a job?
Yeah, and she's got, I didn't see this earlier, she's got a piercing on the, what do you call this up here?
The bridge of the nose?
The bridge of the nose. So she's got piercings everywhere. But anyway.
She's not getting through a metal detector at BNA.
No, she's not. And this is what she said, yet another example of the Woking Dead.
Okay, so I'm making this video for my own protection. So I am not suicidal. I don't want to die. I have a full life to live, and I'm happy. What? But I just outed my parents for Trump and ICE supporters, so if anything happens to me, I don't know, so I'm just putting this out there for my own safety. I'm not suicidal. I'm a great mother,
right?
And I have no bad things to do to anyone whatsoever. I was using my freedom of speech, playing music, and since they support Trump and ICE, they got so mad, and now they're kicking me out. So I'm just putting this here for my own safety and my own protection. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
I mean, that's
Hang on, she's a mother. Did you catch that?
Oh, yeah, she
I'm
has
a great mother, and my parents are kicking me out?
Yeah, because she doxed her parents. In another video, she gave her apparently, she gave her address and everything.
Listen, I do understand the plea for safety, because if that was my kid, I'd be whooping some ass.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? With all those earrings and nose rings and all the face rings and everything, I mean, it's too late for her. Let's be honest.
I hope her parents try to take the child away. Sorry.
You know what, Joan?
That's not a very nice
I actually
thing,
thought the same thing. So yeah, that is example 2 of the Woking Dead. Now I've got one more, Chris.
A hat trick.
How do you think this bit's going so far?
I like it.
Do you like it? The Woking Dead?
I do.
Sam hates it.
It's okay.
Sam is a persistent curmudgeon.
He is, for a young guy, and he's smart as anything. Just ask him. I mean, he just, honestly, he's like he's taken my place as the show curmudgeon.
He told me that he tried to have fun one time, and it wasn't for him.
It's got to be tough being Sam. He's got to come in and deal with me and Joan, but mainly me every day.
Mostly you, yeah.
All right, I got one more of the Woking Dead. You ready? This is a woman named Melissa Halverson, and she is in Michigan.
When you're at
at war with somebody, guess what that other country does? Exactly what they've been doing through history all this time, right? You take them hostage and you use them for leverage. So guess what Iran did? They put a bounty out on his head, and whoever finds him gets a great award. I can't wait. Hopefully it's like money or jewels. I hope the person who finds him is very poor and ends up being very wealthy, and I hope Iran holds their promise.
So there you go. The Walking Dead.
So she just wants somebody to kill President Trump.
No, what she wanted to do was, remember the guy was shot down and he was hiding in the crevice?
Oh,
she wanted him to be found.
She wanted him to be found and it would appear ultimately killed.
So you don't like Donald Trump, so you're rooting against our military.
Yes.
Exactly.
And she wants him captured and probably killed and all that. By the way, her name, as I said, Melissa Halverson. So she, of course, because she also, for people watching on Super Talk TV, she's just crazy. Like, you can tell she's got, like, the crazy eyes.
Can you paint the picture? What does she look like?
Hair up in a thing, and she's going in and out of the camera, like really manically rocking back and forth. Yes.
Jane Fonda vibes.
It's exactly right. Wide eyes, the whole thing. So she ended up getting fired from her job.
Good.
Yeah. So she is example 3 of The Walking Dead. So I don't know. You like the new bit, Chris?
I do.
Do you really like The Walking Dead?
Yes.
Big hype, big fan?
Yes.
Okay. Because you're probably going to remind me that I'm supposed to do it, because I totally forgot that I was supposed to do the Mandis Morning Morons like 2 days in a row.
Yeah. So, do you have a moron for this morning?
A moron for this morning? I just had 3 of them.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
We're combining bits.
That's what we're doing. Now, some people are saying that this is a ripoff of Chad's, is it White Woman Wednesday?
See, but I think it's good because you're encompassing all races. All are welcome here.
And genders and all that. Like,
Yeah.
I did a whole thing
All
on
70 of them.
Who did I do, Joan, earlier? Lawrence O'Donnell. Yeah, I did Lawrence O'Donnell earlier.
What a nut he is, huh?
That dude is what Lawrence O'Donnell is? Lawrence O'Donnell is one of the Walking Dead.
How does he still have a show?
I don't know.
Like, I feel like I could do a better show faking it than he can authentically.
Oh yeah. Like you could fake what he is doing and probably and frankly probably do it better. But what's the best way to put this? The over dramatization of everything that he does is so incredibly stupid, and he sounds very pious and overly dramatic. I've got, by the way,
do you want to feel upset?
Well, hold on. I've got one more from actually Lawrence O'Donnell.
Do you want to know how much he makes a year?
How much does he make?
Got to
a
make
year?
$500,000.
5 to 10 million per year.
Are you kidding me?
That's what they're saying his likely range is.
Somebody said on this, because I was talking about Lawrence O'Donnell earlier, and somebody on the YouTube chat said, "Oh, look at Dan, making fun of Lawrence O'Donnell. Why don't you compare paychecks?" Ooh, got me. You know what though? At least I don't sound like this. Lawrence O'Donnell upset that Pete Hegseth actually said, "We don't leave a man behind."
That brilliant rescue was described by the Secretary of Defense and by General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, as a long-standing American military rule of never leaving anyone behind.
We leave no man behind.
That is, of course, the old school version of the idea back when only men flew American military planes.
Shut up.
Well, no. To be fair, Hegseth was completely correct, because since Donald Trump got back in office, all the women in the military are only making sandwiches. God bless them for it.
Hey, Joan.
Yeah.
Chris Hand, part of the
Walking
Dead.
What's woke about that?
Nothing. It was just I wanted to include you in it.
The sandwiches were tasty.
Here's more from. I'm just gonna leave that alone. Here's more from Lawrence O'Donnell.
General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, put it this way.
We leave no one behind.
Way more inclusive.
The general knows, unlike Pete Hegseth, that could have been a woman they were trying to rescue, and it might be a woman the next time.
That dude, in addition to being part of the Woking Dead, he's just insufferable.
It's like he's cosplaying as Cronkite.
Yes. I like it.
Was Cronkite that deliberate?
He's a Timu Cronkite.
What did I call? I called somebody Timu something earlier, and I don't remember what it was.
Was it Timu Obama? Were you talking about Hakeem Jeffries?
No. Somebody, I don't remember who it was. But anyway, so there you go. That's my new bit.
I like it.
The Woking Dead. I asked Amy about it last night.
Mm-hmm.
She was silent for like 20 seconds.
She was in awe.
I don't think that was it.
It was awe-inspiring, and she just was frozen. She couldn't even comprehend that her husband came up with that.
The
stunned silence.
And then
And then she just clapped. It was just a slow.
The Nancy Pelosi seal clap. And then I sent a note to Joan. I sent a text to Joan. And I forget exactly what I said in my text to Joan.
It was a little desperate.
What?
No.
You're desperately texting Joan?
No. I have the text. So, and I want to know what people are saying on the super text line about the Woking Dead. So I said to Joan, hey, what do you think of the term the Woking Dead to highlight the leftist debris on social media? So you know what she says? Did you make that up? So she's not giving me an indication as to whether or not she likes it or not. She wants to wait till I commit to admitting that it was my mistake.
Well, she's not going to bash it if it was Amy's idea.
That's a good point.
I'm smarter than the average bear, buddy.
So then I said, sort of meekly, I did. But in fairness, I just woke up and I'm semi-drugged, which I was.
Mm.
And then she said, I love it. Although I don't want to encourage drug use, but that's good.
Semi-drugged Dan is my favorite drugged Dan.
Is it semi-drugged Dan? Not you don't want to go full drugged.
Never go full drugged Dan.
Right.
Okay, very good.
I do have a review on your new segment. From
Yeah,
the text line.
I shudder to think or ask, what are people saying?
1323. How about WTN return to quality programming and forget these silly ass segments? They are stupid.
All right, what else did people say?
67-66. Dan's so lame.
Okay. Anything else?
Oh, as they remembered what you did.
What'd I do?
And this is actually pretty good. I'm going to give you credit for it. You
Yeah.
called the Soleimani niece and grandniece the Timu Kardashians.
That's what I said.
That's money. Nail on the head.
Put it on a promo. I'm still, on our promos.
It should be just this version of it. That's what I said. Put it on a promo.
I'm still running promos. They're still running promos of me talking about the Reagan administration.
Oh.
So.
I think the amnesty bill is a good idea. Let's bend the knee. It'll be done. It'll be done moving forward.
All right, moving right along. 8:55, real quick. Joan, what you got in the news?
Yeah, coming up here, the White House considering a plan to punish NATO countries that didn't help the U.S. in Iran. Also, apparently, acetone and cigarette smoking don't mix. We've got that story, too, coming up at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Chris, Saturday, May 30th, where are we going to be? We're going to be at the Glock Store's open house.
Matt Murphy will be there, too.
Yes, Matt Murphy will be there as well. And me, Matt, Chris, all going to be at the Glock Store Saturday, May 30th. It is their open house. And so, I love these open houses at the Glock Store. Number one, I get to meet a lot of you folks who come out, but they've got vendors, they've got giveaways, they've got food trucks.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to go and get some great deals on some ammo, on some guns, on some accessories, they've got them at the big open house Saturday, May 30th at the Glock Store.
And the best part is you might not even have to spend any money to get yourself a Glock because they always have the best raffles.
The raffles, the giveaways, it's a whole thing.
Last year they gave away like 3 Glocks, including a $2,000 Glock Store custom Glock.
The Trump Glock?
Yeah.
I coveted that Trump Glock, actually. And so
Dan was willing to break a commandment for that Glock.
That's exactly right. Anyway, moving right along. So, yeah, that is going to be Saturday, May 30th at the Glock store. Find them online anytime. By the way, this is where I buy all my guns. I've done all my training and also my ammunition as well. Find them online, shoot270.com and glockstore.com.